Sup, everybody? This is Garrick with ACG, and I'm here with Johnny and Silver, the best gaming podcast 546. Thanks to these guys for always sitting down and talking on their Fridays. It's been a busy week. Couple things going on.
Yeah.
Just a couple small things. Nothing huge, just a huge changes in the industry. We're going to sit down. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Ghost of Yote. We're going to talk about Call of Duty 7. Dute, which I've been playing a bunch of. See what these guys have been playing. See what you guys have been playing. So post off in the comments for what games you've been enjoying. Also, thank you very much for everybody sitting in and watching the different videos. Appreciate also people watching the walking video where I just walked around in
ASMR
Ghost.
video.
That was
fantastic.
ASMR. Yeah.
Yeah,
it was
great.
cool to do that one because, dude, like the flocking stuff that they've done with the larger groups of animals and stuff, the horses, the shit was, that was amazing, man. So, Johnny, your hitting is off. I don't know what hitting is. Do you know what hitting means?
No. Something to do with my hat, maybe?
I have no clue. But, and then let's see what else. We've got a bunch of questions from people all over the world about pretty much all the same shit. So I tried to go and grab some questions about other stuff so that we didn't just flood the questions all about the same crap. You guys get a chance, go and check out the stuff that I covered on the side podcast, which is, let's see, 500. We're at 540. I always do a 0.5. So that would be 545.5, where I covered a lot of what we're going to cover today, or at least some of it. And then I'm going to get these guys' ideas on it, and your guys' as well. Oh, he says your heating is off. Oh, because you're wearing a beanie.
Oh, damn, that took
That's
3
so
tries.
Yeah. Well, hitting. Hey, so listen to this. No lie. Taylor Swift's, or not Taylor Swift, but Britney Spears' song, Hit Me Baby One More Time. That was a mistake by the writers.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was supposed to be Call Me. But when somebody says hit me up, they thought hit was slang for call. So the entire song isn't what it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be Call Me Baby One More Time. Yeah. I was just like,
that makes a lot of
weird.
sense.
Beaver says, Silverman, where's your beanie? Yeah, we were actually talking about that. We were, Johnny and I, right before Silver jumped in, I think. Maybe he heard us. I don't know. We were talking
about. I have a dozen hats, but no beanies, I'm afraid.
Damn.
Well, we could all show up in fedoras, man.
True.
Like we could all show up and just be
People
like,
would freak out, dude, if you show up with like a full fedora.
That would. I'd have to show up in the full like leather jacket and everything. Somebody says, "What's coming through Silver's mic?" Oh,
I don't know. Is something coming through?
It just might be super sensitive, but yeah, something was coming through there for a second. I can do a little bit of a noise floor. Anyway, let's jump into it right away. First thing let's talk about is Ghost of Yote. So I played a bunch of it. Johnny, let's see what your thoughts are overall of Ghost, because you played a bit, right?
Yeah, I played a bit. So far, it's been really nice. They smoothed out a little bit the horse riding parts where it goes kind of cinematic. So it's a little bit different how that works, but the same stuff with the wind, it was already great. And I like that you can really see detail in the distance, so you can actually make good decisions about where you're going just by looking. Because you see in the distance, smoke signs and different things that lead you to points of interest quite naturally. Yeah. So I liked how that worked. And I think that's a good example of tech making the gameplay itself better too, because you can see that level of detail and it's really well defined. You can then kind of gauge where you're going and everything like that, where the prior was a bit more, everything was fogged out, and here the fog plays an artistic role, not so much like actually hiding stuff.
What do you think? I got to switch my mic over. What do you think overall of? Did you notice it was a huge graphical increase? Did it feel like it was?
Yeah, I noticed it mostly on the far away stuff so
Mhm.
far. I think it looks great. The prior one already looked fantastic, but playing in the performance mode, it's very smooth. That's really, one big thing. When I played the original, I think it just had the normal, like 30 FPS mode. I can't remember if it did have performance back then, performance mode. But
Mhm.
I played
Oh,
it
yeah,
fully
it
in
was
like 30.
yeah, at the time.
Yeah, it was 30. So to play at 60, a game that looks that amazing on the normal PS5, it's not the Pro version. I'm really impressed. I think it looks great and plays great. The combat seems better as well. I think that throwing weapons you find is a cool addition. And then on top of that, the directional stuff is working quite nicely, where you're able to kind of highlight who you're going to respond to in like a more intuitive way. I'm still not a big fan of the colored attacks where like, if it's red, you have to dodge. If it's blue, you have to parry. If
Mhm.
it's yellow, you have to, whatever, charge your attack. For me, that limits my creativity quite a lot because it's actually just funneling me down one correct path of action. And if I get that wrong, it feels pretty bad, right? It's not like, to me, it's not a rewarding thing. It doesn't feel like I came up with a cool combo or I came up with a cool response to something. It's either you got that reaction right or you didn't. That's really it.
Mhm.
To me, that's a bit shallow. I prefer just like, hey, here's a bunch of options to respond to combat. Have a blast. That's what I prefer. But with that said, I think the different weapons do work pretty well compared to the original. So I've been enjoying. I've only unlocked like 2 or 3 so far, but I've liked them quite a bit, and they are different enough. And it does make sense that some weapons are better versus others, whereas the stances never quite made sense. Why it was just intuitively, why is my low stance suddenly unable to deal any damage to
Right.
people, right? It just kind of felt a bit frustrating. So that part, I think, works a bit better.
Gotcha. Silver, have you got a chance yet?
No, I probably won't for quite a while.
Quite a while.
Maybe even until the PC version.
That's what I was just going to ask. Okay, well, we'll swing back to that then. I understand what you're saying about the colored attacks. I feel like that's just something that until devs sort of figure out how they're going to handle all of this stuff, it's sort of like what we deal with in these kind of games. That's not like a Dark Souls, but that is like these action games. It seems like the color coordinated attacks are just the way they do it, right? Do they want to make sure that you have some risk, so they throw in your red attack, and it can feel pretty goofy. It can feel like Rise or something, Son of Rome, which I didn't mind, but that game was originally based on the Kinect. And I remember like when they switched to the colors, people were like, "Oh, that's all they did. They switched to the colors." And you're like, "Yeah, pretty much. A lot of games do that, where you see that color coordinated thing. And if you don't
Yeah.
do something, you're sort of screwed." But I will say this, if you were to turn off those colored attacks, I still think that there's a quick attack to stop them. There's a couple other things you can do as well as just dodge out of the way. I feel like there's enough in this one that it feels better when you couple it with the weapons, because I was worried the weapons were going to suck. I was worried the switching to weapons was going to just feel like the stances all over again. And in a way they are, but I think they actually work quite well. Like overall, there's enough flexibility there that it's still enjoyable. And you can still take out guys with another weapon, which is cool. It does take longer. You do have to figure out ways to get around them, ways to do stuff. But
Yeah.
there's that. Mark Long says hi. $2 super
Yo.
chat. What's up, Mark? Thank you very much. That's awesome. But yeah, man. I mean, dude, the game looks awesome. People couldn't believe it was on the PS5 normal when I did the walk, I guess you'd call it. I call it walking in games for that one. But like, it's insane. The image quality on that is ridiculous. The stability of like grass and how it moves and the lack of aliasing in many places is just like crazy on 60. And you put it on 30, and this is going to sound really weird. I don't think it looks better. I think it looks sharper because of the resolution when you do the 30 at the higher res. And I think with the ray tracing, it looks slightly more ray tracy. But this is one of the few games where I think ray tracing doesn't really help it a ton. Number one, there's not a lot of reflective surfaces, which is where overblown ray tracing seems to have become the thing. Like, let's see how shiny this fucking pond can be. And you're like, dude, seriously, you know, you're seeing reflections of a goose a mile away and you're zooming in going, look at the reflection of the goose. Like, who gives a shit? The ray tracing to me is not worth it. I think the 60 FPS, the way the game looks, the color in the game, just the overall delivery, and then it feels better. Just overall awesome. Like it works really well. I think that to me is like pretty good. Yeah, Silver, your mic. You want to just mute your mic until you're talking, Silver? Can you do that?
Yeah, of course. I can also just turn it down.
Yeah, that worked. So overall, I mean, dude, it's better in almost every way. The one thing I want to ask you about, though, story.
Yeah.
What do you think?
To me, I don't need a lot of a big premise to be interested. I'm kind of sold that I'm gonna be this, revenge-driven samurai character. So I'm in. It works for me. It's your classic like Kill Bill style.
That's exactly
introduction, right?
Kill Bill. Yep.
Yeah, I think that it's fine. It works. It's not any different than, say, Assassin's Creed Shadows. I don't think it's doing something too special there. It's that same setup, but I like the character. I've been doing the English voices, and she has like a cool, interesting, unique voice that I felt was cool, and I've been enjoying just going through that through the lens of her character. There's not a ton there outside of just like, hey, I'm really driven, I'm pretty damn good at fighting, and I'm gonna kill all these guys, right? And I'm down for it. Sometimes that simplicity is also nice. It's not that I'm driven by some kind of like 3D chess motivation, 3 degrees removed. It's really like, that's it. What you see is what you get.
Speaking of 3D chests, I love that you get some hot melons in the hot tub. Shows her get in.
You do.
I was was quite surprised. I didn't know what they do. They did a little cut that's a little ugly, I would say. There's this little like weird cuts that sometimes they'll I think they have your cloak hanging, and the camera, at least for me on the review code, the camera was going through the cloak and it looked a little goofy. But I do like the fact that, it's like she gets up and, hey, hope people like crack.
Yeah.
Because it's there. You got some crack.
Going in.
Yeah. I mean, it was cool. I thought her character was awesome. I will say it's funny that when you go and talk to her mom, you sound 40 years old at 13 and your mom sounds 20.
Yeah.
It is the weirdest break. I don't know why they didn't switch I mean, I don't know if they didn't switch her. It changes a little bit, but she sounds way older than her mom. The first time you sit down to play the instrument with your mom and you're talking to her, and I'm like, who's talking?
Somehow going, yeah.
Go ahead. What were you going to say?
I was just going to say, going through that traumatic experience also made her smoke the equivalent of 40 years of cigarettes.
Right. Yeah.
And then,
listening to 50 Cent and just getting pissed, just doing crunches, like, I'm going to fuck these people up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed that. I think you'll like it, Silver. I think the combat is, I don't remember what you said about the original with the stances, Silver, but like this one's combat, I feel is more free flowing. Did you like the combat in the original?
I thought it was fine. Like it helped when it got the lethal difficulty. Although that also really sort of ruined it in some ways, because it made the combo system of the game completely irrelevant, because you were no longer comboing because fights were over,
one kill kind of thing,
really quickly.
Yeah.
But almost, yeah. so that trivialized parts of the combat system. In a lot of ways, the game also became a lot easier, frankly, than the game's hard difficulty. But I enjoyed the combat for what it was. I also didn't find it that bad necessarily when I was mismatched. I found I could still make it work, even though I wasn't doing huge damage. I could still kill people. Like I could still kill the big guys in the other stances, even though I didn't use the big guy stance and whatnot. So I sort of made do. So I didn't have that wasn't as big of an obstacle for me as it was for a lot of other people.
Gotcha. I just felt that it wasn't even as much an obstacle as it just didn't feel great. Like something about
I
the
get
feedback, that loop was weird.
Yeah. I mean, because it feels completely arbitrary, so I totally get it.
Yeah. A little bit like you and I've talked about, like I like to set it on hard and then, like the hardest it goes and then go down depending on wherever I feel like, okay, this is going to work or is not going to work. And the first one at times just felt like there were times where there was just bumps where you were like, man, this feels weird. I will say in Yote, there was one time though that was really tough for me, but I went to the wrong area at the wrong time, because it's pretty open. And I went to a spot and I was like, oh my God, I'm getting just juiced consistently, absolutely smoked. And I think people knew they didn't know what game, but they could hear me like complaining because I was playing and, I was playing on my own, but I was in a voice chat and they could hear me going like, God damn, man, this is like rough. But I will say, I think also, you look at Shadows turned out way better than I thought it was going to. I didn't think it was going to turn out bad. I didn't know how it was going to turn out. We've had bad Assassin's Creeds before. Shadows, I think, turned out quite well. I think turned out a good deal better than many people expected. I expected this one to be good, and then the combat system was going to end up, being the like deciding factor versus the story. And that one definitely worked. Like that part of it rocked. The story, though, so I don't know, man. I don't mind it because I love John Wick. I love revenge stories. But it came after. I mean, dude, the original just is a pretty, overarching, huge story, and it's got all these big political shifts. And here, it's exactly what I was telling Johnny. Is same exact thing. Kill Bill 2, like Kill Bill 3.
Yeah.
And you go into it and you're like, okay, what's going on? Well, the world building's done. You don't need to sort of be introduced, and they didn't feel the need to introduce you. So it's just, dude, the game starts out fast. I mean, it's just like, I think this might be one of the fastest starting out games I've ever played, where you're literally, and you're in a combat, it takes no time. It's just like, boom, you're right there. Weapons were great. Horse riding, traveling on foot, all that stuff works really well. I think the skill system was pretty good. Did you like the skill system, Johnny? Or at least the parts you played?
I'm liking it so far. It feels pretty impactful. Everything you unlock, it feels like a nice building block. So you have like the basics, right, that you're learning. And then, boom, here's a new thing. And now maybe here's a new enemy attack that, you need this thing to respond with. So it's kind of like building blocks. Mm-hmm. I thought it's working pretty well so far.
Okay. And then what weapon have you, is there a certain weapon you're going like that you like better than the others?
Yeah, I like the Kusarigama a lot. I've always been a fan of that. And I unlocked that last night. And then, let's see. I like the basic katana a lot. The basic katana is great. The duel feels pretty cool as well, but I just feel like there's something about the traditional, just one katana with big, powerful moves feels pretty great.
I like the Odachi, actually. I was hoping I would. Yeah, I do. And the other thing I like about this system, which I think is just so much better than the stance system, is that in the stance system, if you switched away from the stance, there was no extra, there was not really any depth to it other than you're now at a disadvantage and this is the way it is. What I like about this one is when they have a katana and you have a katana, all of the positives go away and it goes back to the original style, which is just katana versus katana. And then it goes deep. So it's almost like a dip in a bar graph or something, where it feels like all this stuff, it's got their moves, they're plotted everywhere. Some are more powerful, some are weaker. But then if you fight a guy, if you're in the midst and you hit somebody with an odachi, you turn around, that guy's got a katana, and you switch to it, then all the other stuff that you liked in the original, or the stuff that you do in the quick draws, all that kind of stuff, become like weirdly more important. And it's got this depth to it that like pops up weirdly. And you have to play it to understand what I mean, because it's very hard to describe. But I did like that. I was like, I guess I'll say it this way. Each weapon has a plus, and that's pretty much it, and their moves. The katana doesn't, but the moveset is, and the moveset with the enemies seems to be a little bit more developed, so that it felt like when you go katana and I go katana, or there's a katana and a spear, you really have to watch out, because if you switch, the spear guy will be easier. You'll be like, the spear guy sort of understand. I get my, 2 katanas and I can sort of knock his weapon away and I'm in. But when one guy's got a katana and one guy's got a spear, you're like, oh shit, like where do I go? And then I feel way more than the first game, height matters. I don't know if that's just me playing this game, but I was jumping off of rocks, clearing the guy with this katana, killing the guy like past him to spin because I had to, because I was like, okay, I need to clear one of these guys. What do I do? And then some guys have shields, which I don't remember shields in the first game. It doesn't mean they weren't there. I just don't remember one-handed shields in the first game. Maybe I'm just forgetting. But in this one, you have the guys with the shields, which then you have to do a different attack, and you have to change it up. Were they?
They were in the first game.
Okay.
Yeah, one-handed shields. There was one of the stances was dedicated to guys with shields.
That's why. Yeah. So and I think that's why I like this, is the variation is it like you can feel it going up and down with whoever you go. It just feels more. It just feels a lot more balanced. Craig, what's up, sir? $10 super chat. Happy Friday. Hope everybody has a good weekend. You as well. Hope you're getting some gaming in. Maybe some Call of Duty, Yotai. What else? People are saying Johnny's going to compete with Carrick's beard.
Yeah, I said maybe in 10 years. We'll see.
Is that what you said? Yeah, maybe in 10 years.
Yeah, we'll keep working it.
And then sound, I thought, was really good. Music was great. Like overall, just a really top tier game. They did a good job, man. They nailed it.
What did you think about the getting disarmed? Because in this game you can be disarmed by certain moves. That felt really frustrating, but of course you do have counterplay. You just have to land your counter attack to that. But did that feel good overall?
Yes, but it was frustrating and I loved it. I absolutely agree with you. I absolutely agree that it was frustrating, but for some reason, hearing those guys laugh at me and say, keep her away from the sword, or don't let him get back to the weapon, cracked me up. And I don't know why. It was like,
that's cool.
It was like fear when a guy's like, go right. It was just a response, but you're sitting there and you see the guy getting ready to do one and you're like, I'm good. But then this guy gets ready to hit you and you're like, oh shit, I'm going to just block this guy real quick. And you block the guy and the sword flies out, and trying to get back. And they're like, keep her away from those weapons. I was like, that's cool. And you can always switch to something. And I do love that she has unarmed attacks. So you can attack. You've got like a couple palm strikes and an elbow that you can throw in. You're not going to be hammering through somebody's, 60-pound armor, but it's still nice to be able to bust up a couple fools with hand to hand. Yeah, I get it though. I understand that. Christopher, $10 super chat. I played Yotai for 2 hours. However, I don't remember the bamboo cutting being the way in the first game, basically using D-pad trigger and L1 or R1 buttons. Gotcha.
It didn't use the D-pad. It used the shoulder buttons, the bumpers, and the regular 4 buttons.
And I'm pretty sure it didn't use the joystick like L3 and R3.
No, it didn't.
Yeah, that's something... Yeah, I didn't like that. I mean, you know how I feel about those buttons.
Yeah.
I hate those things, man. But yeah.
I didn't. Okay, so I will say I did find some difficulty in this one with the bigger, more difficult bamboo, because there were so many buttons, and I swear to God the input was faster in this one. that the requirement for
Fast.
the input.
Yeah.
Dude, there was a time where I did one by like using a thumb and just going like instead of discrete buttons, going like you know, and just hammer fisting it and hoping I would get it.
And it worked.
And it worked.
Just like
But it took a good number of tries where I was like, okay, this is actually more difficult. Yeah, that's true. And then you know you got drawing. You have a couple mini side things you can do. Yeah, is that it for is that it for Yotai? Yeah, overall. Oh, and I love some of the bosses. The snake guy still is probably my favorite though. I faced him first. I don't know if you have to face him first, but that's who I faced first. And lighting his hut on fire, and he just doesn't give a shit.
He's just laughing.
It's burning his house, and he's laughing. But when he comes out and he just puts the mask on, like somebody else is, you know, trying to take me on. I thought that was awesome as a first boss.
Yeah,
that was like.
I think the kind of mythos around each of the characters is pretty cool.
Yeah,
because they are kind of like enshrouded in mystery because they have these names like, you know, the dragon, you know, the snake. So you don't know much about them, and you start to learn more as you get closer to them. And then they have this kind of persona.
Did you also notice the Shadow of Mordor kind of thing where you knock somebody down and then you like hold them, you know, you hold the tip of your sword under their chin and you ask them about the Onai, or you ask them about, you know, the snake, and they tell you stuff. I thought that was
interrogate.
Yeah, that was just sort of fun because it was like and then of course I always did the thing where if somebody's laying on the ground, I'd kill everybody else and then just watch this guy like try to crawl somewhere. Yeah. I let the guys crawl for a long time. I mean, there was one guy who crawled like a long time, and I just kept inching, and I was like, dude, this is sort of powerful.
Yeah, I did that in the first game as well. Sometimes.
Yeah, it's just fun. It's just so it's fun. It's so stupid to do. Bob $2 super chat. He says KCDC Legacy of the Forge. So Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 Legacy of the Forge. Have you guys played it? No, I haven't. That's the DLC.
I haven't played it, but I've watched some content on it, which looks. I mean, it looks good for if you're still into Kingdom Come. I mean, it's really just a forge or a house where you can keep stuff and whatnot.
I don't think that interests me enough to go back.
It makes the game more comfortable logistically, as it were.
Okay. Yeah, so I haven't got
the story content isn't that riveting from what I hear. But yeah.
Yeah, I didn't assume for what they were doing it was going to have anything other than a small mini story, you know. I mean, have the
I think it's like 5 or 6 hours of story content from what I heard.
Gotcha.
You're still
yeah, I'll return to that one when more DLC comes out, maybe. You know, just get back to it, jump back in. So surprising, actually. I said, is anybody or who's getting Ghost? And 33% said yes. 67%
That's pretty low.
7% said no. Yeah. That is actually low. But there's a lot of games. Dude, Digimon, #1 sales on Steam. Like,
I didn't expect that for some reason, but it's cool to see. Yeah, those games tend to do pretty well, don't they? The Monster Hunter one.
You mean in general the
stories
itself? Sure.
Like, yeah.
But I don't know if Digimon does. I don't know much about it. All I know is what I saw looked pretty.
Weirdly enough, man, the Digimon stuff has always resonated with people. Since the original. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it looked good.
I can see it.
So that's it for Ghost, and then Call of Duty. Did you guys do any Call of Duty 7? Probably not, right? I'm probably the only one who's had.
No, but I was in chat when you were trying it out and watching you rant about the shotgun and stuff.
Yeah, dude, the shotgun.
Yeah,
it's a shotgun. In real life, a shotgun will clean somebody from 80 yards away if a person knows how to use it. It has a slug, so like it does. It's realistic, but I mean, in a way, it's realistic. Come on. But yeah, I like it. I mean, it feels just like 6. I'm not a huge fan yet of the overall feel of the maps. It takes a little bit longer to jump into that, but I will say it's fun. I always have to come to grips with protecting areas because, like, I think my best game yesterday was 45 kills, 9 deaths. I was like, okay, I'm really happy with that. And then we lost anyway. I was like, oh, shit, we lost anyway? What the fuck? Yeah,
wow.
So... because I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do. I was playing with Demon, and thanks to him for showing up and playing games with us. That was a blast. We got to play with Demon, and who is excellent at that game. Damn, best player I've ever played with. I think like that guy was cleaning, because I think I got 47, he got 51. I got like, I can't remember. They were high numbers though. That was the other thing.
Damn.
Sometimes I thought I was looking at the wrong number, because I was like, how the hell high?
That is a lot of kills, man.
Yeah. So, but it was high. It was high. Those numbers might be skewed, but I mean, it was ridiculous. Like I mean, he had like a 7 kill streak. I had a 9. Like it was ridiculous. It was just like, bah, 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 bah. But then we'd lose because I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do. So, I'll jump back in today. Mootsky and I are going to jump back in and play it. It's enjoyable. It looks good. Guns are enjoyable. I would say that if you're expecting something absolutely different, the multiplayer doesn't feel that way. The multiplayer feels like exactly what you would expect. And then I think Zombies unlocks today too, which I thought was interesting. I think this is the first Call of Duty that has a Zombies preview, I think is what Johnny said. We have a no CM in here. But yeah, it was enjoyable. I mean, God damn, we got a no CM in here. You guys ever get those? The little tiny flies? I left my deck door open all night.
Oh, dude.
Sleep,
yes.
and I got one.
Yeah, they're super annoying.
Yeah. And my dogs hate them. Oh man, my dog, if he sees a no CM,
he'll freak out.
Like you can't, but you can. Yeah, he'll freak out and he'll like be in a closet and be like, oh shit.
We call them banana flies.
In fact, yeah, banana flies. Yeah, it's another term. But yeah, so it was an enjoyable title. And I think, in all honesty, it's awesome because this, at least I feel like this winter, we're going to have 2 amazing shooters, as long as they both deliver on the campaign in Battlefield and this, which is actually pretty exciting. I think that's going to be cool for people who want to jump into both, or people who just like one or the other. It feels like you're not going to have any real issue. I will say that they're both what they are, though. You know, there's no surprises. Like Battlefield had no surprises. It's like, oh, here's some destruction that really does barely anything. And, you know, it's slower. And then it feels a little bit more drawn out. And then you have Call of Duty, which feels like Call of Duty. So certainly not they're not Arma. You know, you're not going to be playing it and be like, oh my God, it feels so amazing and different.
Would you like it to be maybe a bit different, or like iterating on stuff more?
No, that dude, Call of Duty is what Call of Duty is, and I have absolutely no issue with that.
I really believe that, because like if you buy a burger, surely like you're not expecting them to iterate on the lettuce,
or at least like completely change it to a chicken burger. Right? Like, what's going on? Yeah. I do like that each one of them offers side things. And for example, zombies and what have you. You know, there'd be times where I would like the maps to be a different way in which they're done or whatever. But no, it's in all honesty, I think that it's almost like legacy football teams that are winning a bunch. They're doing their thing, and then other people come forward, other companies, and they're like, okay, we're going to do a different thing. Arma did that. Other shooters have done that. They come in and then they do their thing, and you get a nice brinksmanship there. And I have no issue with that. Like, I don't need them to completely change up anything for that kind of stuff. So, but it was cool. And, you know, like the maps, especially the maps on both of them, I haven't loved. Battlefield's maps, I really didn't enjoy those maps. And this one, at least nothing's made me go, oh, wow. You know, this needs to, you know, and the big change for them was movement. Call of Duty's movement's way better than it was 2 games ago. They did the last game prior with the movement style, and this one, that's a huge bonus. It feels better in that way. So yeah, we'll just have to see.
That's a good iteration. Maybe not different, but like improved.
Yeah. Well, I think overall they changed zombies a lot. Every single game, it feels like Zombies is trying something. That sort of seems like, for whatever reason, their experimental side, and then their campaign. But they offer what they offer, and like, you know, it's sort of like pepperoni pizza. If it's good and you enjoy it, you'll get it. Some people are like, I want pepperoni and blank, and then somebody wants even more, and somebody gets a different pizza, and that's the way the games are. Like, I think
that's fair. It's almost like a FIFA, or, you know,
in a way they're very close to that.
These games.
I would say that their consistent the repetition of their releases can feel samey, though. There's not a lot of rest, right? It's like it's Call of Duty, it's Black Ops, Call of Duty, it's Black Ops. This is Black Ops, I think, right? Yeah. I think it's 2 Black Ops in a row. Yeah, so that can feel like, okay, that's a lot. But for people who like it, it's not a lot. It's exactly what they want. And I'm not one to be like, you need to change. I can find, there's enough games out there. So that's the other thing. If Call of Duty or any of these games changes a bunch, that's great. But I'm also cool with finding a different title that sort of meets whatever new need I may have or whatever I may enjoy. But you probably won't do that one, right, Silver? I'm assuming Call of Duty is not really going to be like,
No.
Yeah, I can see that. I think that's fair. Spetsu says, $11 super chat tip for fruit flies. Trap made of apple vinegar. Or the even better one, shotgun. Shotgun definitely works against fruit flies. I mean, it works against your walls and everything else, but it definitely works. Ghost was an awful release date. Jacob, you don't think COD needs to innovate at least a bit? Well, we didn't say that. Pillow, the second Battlefield 6 beta felt a bit more like COD. That was probably because of the map sizes. I would agree. Yeah. Alexander says, what brought COD back was Modern Warfare 2019. The multiplayer was badass and Warzone was also, but man, what a time 2020 was with COVID too. Yeah, that's true. Bit says we have enough games that there is something for everyone, which is awesome. Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely a lot. Like it does feel like there's just so many titles right now. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's even covering the October games it was nuts. Like there were just so many big games. Speaking of that, what have you guys been playing? Like Johnny? No, we'll start with Silver because Silver didn't play those last 2 games. Silver, what have you been playing? I'm going to grab my dog because now he's panicking. What have you been playing, Silver?
Mostly Space Marine 2. Getting back into it after a long hiatus. There's been a bunch of changes to the game. Some things have been really fundamental, like they changed how block works entirely from how it worked at release, where it's now a kind of parry where you parry and then you bank a buff that you then unleash as you collect them from the enemy, and then they get gradually more powerful, and then you can unleash it. You also get damage resistance and armor back for doing that. It's a sort of high risk, high reward kind of gameplay that feels really fun. There are new operations in the game, 4 new ones, I think it is, with some pretty decent boss fights. Some of them really challenging on the higher difficulties. There's the new Horde mode, Siege, which is also fairly challenging, even on the normal, what they call normal difficulty, but is really sort of I think closer to like the 3rd difficulty level the game has. But yeah, there's a lot of new stuff there. There are also new weapons that are fun to mess around with, like the new power axe, really fun to use and cleave through enemies with. New flamethrowers as well, also really fun to use. Yeah, there's been a lot of stuff added to the game.
So question, is the unlocking the same? Because I haven't played in a while. Is the unlocking?
The unlocking is very much the same. Yeah, they are. They also opened up for prestige classes now, where you can unlock. You can reset your progress and then go through it again, and you'll unlock that various perks for each class. You can get up to 4 prestige levels for each class, and I've gotten the sniper and the tactical class to level 4 now.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
And everything for Warhammer's free, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Only the cosmetic stuff costs money. Like the chapter packs with the various Space Marine chapters.
Yeah, I had a couple issues with the unlock, but overall it was fine. There was just there was a couple things I would have liked to have seen slightly adjusted in the unlocking, but there's a lot there. I mean, especially if you're a Warhammer fan, you're like, you want to get a different.
They also added 2 new difficulty levels as well, lethal and absolute.
What do you notice on lethal and absolute versus normal? Like, what's the?
I mean, absolute is Absolute is really, really brutal.
Oh, is it?
Like the big thing is how much like the game will spawn in so many of the special or elites.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll get like 3 lictors or more. Or the new there's also there are new enemies as well, like the Biovore, the Chaos Bonds, which are really, really difficult to learn. At least I found them very difficult to learn because they move very. They do a lot of attacks. They move very regularly, and the game often spawns
you out,
in,
actually.
in bunches.
I don't know if you noticed. They have a move where like they pretend like they're going to hit you.
There's a delay on their attacks often. Yeah. Which can really mess up your timing if you aren't aware of it. And it can be difficult because sometimes or most of the time, they'll spawn in bunches. So you can't really pay attention to one enemy. You have to spread your attention out towards everybody to keep a situational awareness, or you'll get ganked, basically. So the game has definitely gotten a lot more difficult, I think, since release. But it's still fun.
Yeah.
Wonder what the plan is, because we know they got the John Carpenter game. I wonder if like there's is there a World War Z2 planned, or are they just going Carpenter? Are they doing a Space Marine 3? I feel like they said something about this and that the plan was to do further games, but I could be wrong on this. But I think that game's done so well that I just would be blown away if they didn't do a Space Marine 3. Like they did a good job.
I think they did talk about Space Marine 3.
I thought so too.
They also have
did.
They have a dedicated team just for content for Space Marine 2 this year. They have like a full year roadmap with new stuff. But yeah, it's only like a contingent of people.
That'd be awesome to see, man. Yeah, I dig the hell out of that game.
It's great.
Solar Sphincter says, just finished Ninja Gaiden Ragebound. If you want a game that will push your shit in, very retro inspired, pretty fun and stressful. Yeah, so that wasn't fun watching him play that, man. Damn. That was not fun. Like I by the time he was done, I was like, I hate this game. Man, I hate it. But hey, he liked it. It just did not look fun at all, but he did beat it. It was relentless at the last boss. It was just like over and over and over and over and over again watching him fight that guy. It's just like, Jesus Christ, man. Would you kill him or cheat? Could you get a cheat code, please? So I don't have to see this shit anymore, but he did defeat him. So good job for him. I don't know how many hours that took either. How many hours did that take, Solar? Like if you didn't count like randomly pausing to yak with us, like how many hours do you think that was? Soli, $10 super chat. Just started downloading Age of Wonders. Here's money for pizza. Is that because we were playing that last night? Because Amutski and I both jumped into Age of Wonders and played that for like 9 hours. It's another reason I didn't go to bed last night. Ended up playing it for 9 hours. Debo, $2 super chat says $1 million, but you hit every red light in vehicles. I think he means for the rest of your life. We do the incredibly important questions here. So,
okay,
$1 million, but you hit every red light for the rest of your life. Yeah, I'd take it.
Is it only if I drive, or is there a loophole where I can just take Ubers?
If there's a light to hit, you'll hit the red light.
Damn.
Whether you're on the bus forever.
Here's why I'd take it, because there's a lot of places I drive where there's no lights. So I'd take it in a second. We've got a lot of like farmland and stuff. I could still drive freeway.
Yeah. You know what, dude? We got a lot of roundabouts here.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm good. I think I would take the million. We don't have that many traffic lights for that reason.
Do you ever want to gun it though, like some action movie, and just fucking hit that roundabout and just go straight through, like a GTA game? I do. I don't like roundabouts, man. We get them, and I'm always like, I just want to aim for that thing and just.
I like them, man. I think they were great.
I can't tell if you're joking,
but
you like roundabouts.
I'm
like
literally
roundabouts?
not.
Like you're taking pictures of them and. Seriously,
I mean,
come on. Nobody likes roundabouts. Okay, whatever. All right,
dude.
All right.
I mean, I do as well. People who care about traffic.
They're a great system.
Hate them.
Nah. You're just.
Nah, dude. I legit despise roundabouts. Like anywhere they are, I'm like, I'm not going anywhere near that. Oh, here we go. Solar says for the final boss, I would say it took. No. I'm Solar. I meant how long total. How long total did it take you? That final boss took him 2 hours.
Damn.
Oregon Fresh says, been rocking some Endless Legends too. Surprising little gem. Yeah, Endless Legend and Endless Space. I love Endless Space, man. Like,
Yeah.
whoa, jeez, that thing fucking dive bombed me. Oregon Fresh says, yeah, it's Oregon, man. Country don't do red lights. Yeah, exactly. We're good. We don't have to worry about that. Sour Cat says, I ride a motorcycle, so that's a no. True. I mean, you could still do it. You'd just do it once, and that'd be it. That'd be the end.
Also, a million, dude. Just buy a boat. You know, just
buy a boat, dude. I'm in the country.
That's your fix.
I like your thinking, but the boat would be really useless for me. What about you, Johnny? What have you been? Yeah. In case of a flood, what are you playing, Johnny? What have you been?
So I finished the Borderlands 4 story with some friends. I jumped into some Elden Ring in co-op with a buddy. That was super fun. We've been going through that. And then played some Ghost of Yotei, a little bit of League of Legends. And yeah, just had a pretty good time with all of those. Borderlands 4 turned out to be a really fun game. Just sadly really plagued with bugs, especially if you play multiplayer.
Yeah, the performance on that game is not great, man. Unfortunately. Yeah. It's I was talking to
and like functional bugs, man.
He was having like every single person was having issues with that game.
Yeah.
It's too bad. It just seems like it's notorious.
You're not planning on going into post content with it or yet?
Yeah, but I'm planning on waiting for a few patches. Now that I've done the story, I think I'll give it a little room to breathe and then come back once it's a bit more polished up.
Oh, dude, it's hard to say I'll come back or that I'll play it because, there's like
true, you never know, right? Because other stuff will be around. Yeah,
there's so many games now. It's really difficult to even, if a game doesn't hit right now, it's probably the worst time in the history of gaming. If a game doesn't hit day one,
that is true, man. Because one single bad impression could cause you to just never come back to it.
Even if you have a bad impression but good repair of that situation or whatever, it's really hard because people have a allotted amount of time. I mean, even if they own the game, they have an allotted amount of time. So it's very difficult to sort of take advantage of those repairs, and not like any of us like that anyway. I mean, it sucks to have those kind of situations pop up. We got some really cool questions from some people in our chats, and I really like these. Not that I don't like many of them. Mara says, where's the line between mods as creativity and mods fixing a game? Should studios ship more official tools at launch, which would mean resources spent? That's true, because there are some games that really have been completely, like, I'm not even talking about Bethesda games, because I know that that'll be the first thing people jump to, but there's been many a game where, a mod fixes some particular thing that I'm like, this just didn't work for me in this like game. But I don't know. How would you even identify what's fixing a game versus what's like just, mods to adjust it for you? I think we've all probably modded a game.
We have some extreme examples of like Dark Souls 1 not even running in 1080p without a mod fix. Yeah, without if you remember that.
Yeah,
yeah, those are clearly...
Isn't that what it was?
A DS fix or something. Mm-hmm. Yeah, back in the day. Those are clear examples of like, hey, your game's not working properly. Here's a community fix for that. We see it sometimes, but I think people exaggerate a lot. Like Bethesda games, sure, there are some fixes to UI and, improvements to elements like that. But it is also subjective, right? Like technically some people could like the original inventory system.
Yeah.
Although
although we'd question their sanity.
We'd question that, yeah.
Yeah. What were you going to say, Silver?
I think generally it's helpful that a lot of those mods are labeled fixes.
Yeah, many are.
Yeah.
I think generally like stuff like texture stuff and stuff isn't fixes, where it's the stuff that's more technical, smoothing out bugs, and technical aspects in the game. That tends to be what I would call fixes to the game.
Yeah.
where like added content, like textures or NPCs or whatever it might be, or is the other stuff. That's where I would put the line if you want to put a line there.
And you just hit the nail on the head. That's what I was going to say. If you want to put the line there.
Yeah.
Not dissing on the question, but like I'm not 100% sure everything needs to be categorized and easily referenced. To me, mods are out, games out.
No, but we like to do that.
We do. We do. It's become like
things need to be fitted into neat little boxes.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. And I when it comes to that kind of stuff, I mean, technically, a lot of things to some people are fixes that you like. At least, I for myself, at least, I'd be like, that's not a fix. That's that's what you want in your game. Yeah, but I don't like this, and it's fixed it for me. Okay, great. But if you label it fix and it's not, it's like But if you're fixing a bug in a quest, true fix. That's the thing. When it comes to official mods, I would love official mod tools in every game, but I look at, look no further. Most of these companies have talked about it openly. Mod tools that we want to use look okay, at least. Mod tools the developer use can look like shit. And so they want to make sure it at least looks somewhat usable. And that can take, extra money.
It's also a lot of work, right? Yeah, it is extra money to create like a good mod tool.
How about this?
Yeah.
I'd rather have a good game that had no mod tools at all. Most likely. I'm thinking this feels like a solid thing I'm saying, but I would most likely rather have a good game with no mods at all than a game that was, buggy or performance issues that I would have to return to or wait for a mod and then hope the mod didn't become unsupported later by the mod maker later on and all that stuff. But I love that there's more and more mods, and people are able to mod games that don't have mod makers, that don't have editors and stuff like that.
And for bigger,
go for it.
I was just gonna
go for it.
Like for bigger games that do have a lot of budget and scope, I think it's awesome that has become a big thing. Like Bethesda games, like some of these games, Baldur's Gate 3, I think had a good modding experience. I love that we do see it quite often when it's viable.
Yeah.
I used to modify games back in the day when it was really simple to do it, when you would just went into the INI file.
Hell yeah, man.
And you could just like Command and Conquer, and you could just change the price of a building and then like nearly make it free. So you could just implement that kind of cheat or whatever you wanted to do to sort of change the game's economy or tweak it to your own desire. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I can hear somebody getting ready to deliver something, so my dogs are going to bark. But yeah, dude, like sitting here thinking about it, you and I both fucked around with INI files, obviously. That's how I started. That's sort of how I got my start on learning how computers even did anything other than programming basic and shit, which is like ancient shit, but like an assembly. But when you look at mods, I mean, Baldur's Gate, I started to like look at taking apart, some of the weird old packs, and then Arma, of course, because Arma had their editor, but their editor only did very specific things. And then they would tell you like, it loads from this INI
You needed to learn the script.
Yeah. And the script was, I don't know what you want to call it, Bohemia script, whatever, but it was like, it did their thing, but it still latched onto some files. And then you'd go to that file and go, oh, I see what it's, or you'd sort of take a guess at what it was doing. And you'd be like, I actually think I sort of understand what this is doing right at this point. And then you could jump in and you could just like absolutely go nuts. It was so great. Those were fun times. Definitely fun. Let's see. Soulskeeper says, gents, been a while. Have you touched on the Starbreeze layoff and the cancellation of their D&D project? No, but we will. It's on the list for sure. $12 super chat. Thank you very much. It has been a while. I hope you're enjoying whatever games you are playing. SBZ member for 13 entire months. Mods should be accessible to consoles as well, but maybe in another timeline. Yeah, I mean, listen, the more they're like PCs, the more chance that is. Most companies, if they can do a mod something, they'll probably want to put it on Xbox, PlayStation if they can. But there's all kinds of shit that mods allow and there's ways you have to access a mod file folder, which is different in an OS that's for a console than it is for Windows. So there's all that kind of stuff. But I agree, it'd be great if every console had mods. If the
Xbox
PC
has
mods,
some, right? For
very much so.
like,
yeah. And I'd like to see more. Obviously, I mean, Microsoft has 3 or 4 of the biggest companies that release games with mods, and so Bethesda obviously being one of them, Obsidian, those kind of stuff. I would love to see them just be like almost their exclusive part. Does that make sense? Like, okay, so you've got your Xbox and you've got, you know, the ability to do those mods, and if the Xbox allows for that, you know, that's one of the things that they could sell, is be like, hey, all of our games have mods, something that you could see in the future. Be a nice little bonus. But I think it's pretty difficult for devs. I mean, it definitely sounds like it opens up the ability for, if it's got an online mode, you're for sure probably not seeing them. You know what I mean? Because they're going to be worried somebody's going to be in there hacking, which we already have. I mean, I guess Call of Duty 6 already had hackers. So, you know, like all those games, it takes seconds for these guys to figure it out. Yeah, it's rough. Foreign says the only reason they don't force all mods to be paid on PC is because they literally can't stop us. They can't stop us. Fuck. Sounds like William Wallace. He's like, they can't take away our mods.
He's got like a banner and, you know, face painted.
Hush Al Ghul says, what about a mod that removes grass underwater in Elder Scrolls Skyrim to improve FPS? There were a lot of weird mods back in the day for like Morrowind and what do you call it? Oblivion, that did some crazy shit to add FPS, and you really couldn't tell. It was so great. Sometimes you'd just be like, somebody'd be like, hey, this mod improves FPS, and you'd find out it was like one code in their INI file, like one little adjustment, one little change here or there. It was so great. Yeah, those were good times, man. A simpler time for simpler place. Anything else on mods? That it for that? That's answered that question. Let's see. Analog says, is 40 FPS balanced modes actually the sweet spot on consoles with VRR, or should devs still target 60 first?
Okay, what was the question?
So, yeah, I'll read it again. Are 40 FPS balanced modes actually the sweet spot on consoles with VRR, or should devs still target 60 FPS first?
I don't really play VR on consoles, so I can't really speak to that, I don't think.
What about you, Johnny?
Well, I usually always play the performance mode, which is aiming at 60. So I haven't experienced the 40 modes that much. I do notice, you know, VRR quite a bit, because I used to have a TV that didn't have it. Now I have one that has it.
Now you have one that has
I have my monitor and stuff. I do notice that, yeah, quite a bit. And that's really nice. So I imagine it will help, because like you always talk about, there's a big difference between aiming at 30 and being locked at 30.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the way that, you know, the frames are presented or whatever. And I think the 40 with VRR gives you enough of a like buffer and kind of extra headroom that things look a lot smoother potentially.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason I would say 60 for sure is because not everybody has VRR right now on their TVs. And the number of people I know that still, they have a TV that they liked 4K, but it first came out, didn't have VRR, doesn't work right, or it's a, you know, one of the different versions that doesn't work great with PlayStation's VRR signal is really high, meaning it needs a higher FPS to actually look better. Xbox's is lower. It's one of the places that actually Xbox is, at least for most people who like study that stuff, feels noticeably smoother at a lower FPS if they're using VRR correctly. I would say 60 because, hey, that's your locked, you know, that's your FPS that like TVs work at and all that kind of stuff. And then VRR in the future when it's just in every TV. When it's, matter of fact, one of my TVs, I don't use it a great deal, but one of my TVs is still, I just realized, is a non-VRR TV. So, and it's still 4K 120, but it just doesn't have VRR, which is a weird omission, but occasionally you get a TV that has it. A lot of TVs are 4K 60, by the way. Like that, a lot of people bought 4K 60 TVs because they didn't, maybe it was prior to DLSS and FSR being a thing. Maybe it was prior to whatever, but they were like, oh, 4K 60, I'll never need, or for a while, I won't need a better, better.
And let's be honest, a lot of people buy a TV and it lasts them, years, 5 to 10 years sometimes.
Yeah.
Some people still have their 4K TV they bought when it was just kind of coming up.
And when it was like 2K for a TV. Dude,
yeah, or like the first entrance level 4K, and those didn't come with
like
VRR.
7 years old now, the one in the back.
How many? 7? Damn.
Yeah.
That's nuts. Good question, though. I appreciate you asking that. That's actually something that I hadn't really thought of. Let's see. The next thing, let's cover some of the fucking crazy news this week. Actually, we'll answer one more question. The Bug Guy asked this last week, and I missed it because we cut that one short. This is Bug Guy. He says, what genre of music has everyone been listening to lately? I find myself exploring a lot of punk rock and early 2000s rock music lately. I'm trying to think of what I've been listening to.
I still listen to a little bit of everything from like Tuvan throat singing to rock, to classical music, to like Ella Fitzgerald or Louis Armstrong.
Yeah, I listen to everything but country, and I'll occasionally still listen to that. I mean, I'm not going to listen to improvised jazz because like nobody does that. But
unless you're in an elevator or
Muzak, yeah, I listen to.
Or you're in a jazz club if you're listening to it live.
Yeah. What about you, John? Anything?
I've been doing a lot of synth wave this week, with kind of like sci-fi ambience thrown in there,
shit,
type stuff. Yeah, super good to focus. I use it when I read or when I'm working and stuff like that. It's great. I love it.
I think it's some of the best music, if you're trying to do work, if you're trying to focus.
Super
I don't know
nice.
why I like it. And I'm not talking about Alien soundtrack, which is like on the horror side. But
like Evangelist from Blade Runner is one of the best ever.
And even Blade Runner's new soundtrack, from the new Blade, well, not new anymore, things like 7 years old, but you know what I mean? Yeah. That kind of stuff it's really easy to sit back and listen to and get a lot of work done. And I don't need to sing to it, but I'll you hear the tune and you're sort of, you're still getting the beat, but you're able to like sit back and focus, which is always nice. Next up. Oh, so first of all, we'll talk about Xbox. So Xbox raised the price of, how did they do it? They raised the price of premium to $30. They raised the price of PC Game Pass version, which is the PC version of the same thing, but with just less games because it doesn't have some of the Xbox games that are older, to like $16. It was a weird price. That's all I know. It was a weird price. But anyway, sort of a middling price there, which was met with exactly what you would expect on a price rise, which is just absolute ire on any price. Anything these days, it makes sense, right? No, the thing is I was stunned because people are like, I'm surprised. And I'm like, are you? Has there ever been a time when somebody says, hey, man, we raised the price, and people are like, thank God. Thank God. That's great. That's good news. Like, of course not. It was met with exactly the sort of some people most of the people I talked to didn't really care that much. They either have it and they paid it. They already have a subscription, whatever. But obviously it's a price rise. Nobody's going to like it. It's $30. We're subscribed out. I feel like, I mean,
yeah,
I've been consistently looking. I'm not going to drop Game Pass. There's a ton of games.
I was subscribed out with Epic. That's why I never went on the Epic Games front.
Yeah. Dude, there's just so many right now. I mean, it's crazy to me that there's so many subscriptions. I was looking at my PayPal a couple days ago, which is how I do most of my auto subscriptions. And I had cleaned that out less than 6 months ago. I think I told Johnny in a podcast, I saved a good chunk of money by going and cleaning out some stuff. I kept because I was like, I might use this. And then, it was the card. I had a problem with my card. They canceled it and sent me a new one, and that canceled all those. And I looked at them and was like, whoa, Like that, thank God that happened. So I kept sort of control of it. But now it's sort of crept up again. And I was looking yesterday. I have like four streaming services. You know, a couple different like GPT and stuff like that. I've got those, and they're not cheap. They're $20 a month for just for a chat.
It adds up real quick.
a month. Perplexity, GPT, and friggin' like let's say Gemini or whatever, and you're at like $70-$80 for just a chatbot.
I still never even used GPT.
Well, good, because it's $20. Well, it's not. You can use it for free a bunch. But anyway, so I have those. Yeah, it's just like they're doing their thing.
And we've been seeing all of these increase price pretty regularly, right? Whether it's Netflix or whatever, you know, it's pretty steady increases. Here's another $1. Here's another $2.
Yeah, and it's just like well, for that I cannot do it. Because it's not this. Well, I can not do Netflix as well, but I mean, it is getting to the point to where you're just like, okay, if I have, let's say you have one streaming service and you have one game subscription, Ubisoft. Well, they rolled Ubisoft in, so that is true. I should point that out. You know, they did roll Ubisoft Classic in, then they rolled Fortnite something in. I don't know what the Fortnite thing is. It's a battle pass of some kind for like, you know, Fortnite, which I'm not going to care about. But that's already like $60, $70, depending on which streaming service as well. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it's what they're doing though. I mean, it feels like, and by the way, if anybody thinks they're the only one just doing it, hold on to your balls, because you have some surprises coming up in the next 6 months. So it's just, I mean, and by the way, if somebody still gets it and is super happy with it, be happy with it. You do you, man. That's not even what I'm saying. If you like the amount of worth for some people on Game Pass is insane. Like it is absolutely makes sense for them. But there's some people who are just like, it doesn't. They're not doing it. Same thing with what is it? What's it called on Sony's? Plus? I have it and I just don't.
PS Plus.
PS Plus. Does Nintendo have a subscription service? They do too, right?
PS Plus is just the online,
but they also give you the
gaming
classics,
subscription or whatever.
Okay.
Is called something specific that I don't remember.
Doesn't Nintendo have one too?
Yes, they do.
Is that for
theirs is pretty lightweight. It's mostly like to play online, and then they throw a few games you can stream, and there's also like a premium version of that.
They have the backwards compatibility of the NES, the SNES, Game Boy, the N64, and now GameCube games.
But that is the premium version.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And how much is that one?
I don't remember.
The normal version is pretty cheap. It's almost like 1 month of Game Pass for the whole year.
Oh, damn. That's cool.
Yeah.
And then it goes
But
up
again,
from there.
that's mostly just to play online. Yeah, and then the other one is a bit closer to what Game Pass is.
Yeah, I mean, everything now is just a subscription. Dude, I think I told Johnny this. I might not have told anybody this. I can't remember, but I know I was in chat. I went to buy something that had been free for ages. It was like an open source kind of thing. And no lie, because I think Microsoft said something like this, and Sony's done it, and Nintendo's done it. So it's like, but this guy said something like, I've heard your requests or whatever, and so I've decided to do what you wanted and go to subscription. And I was like, what? Like, when would anybody, like, who would have said, let's go to another subscription for anything in the world? And it was something that we'd been using for years. And you're just like, dude, that's such an odd thing I mean, who knows? Maybe people are asking for it. Maybe they're asking for support on that particular program. I don't know, but it just seems.
I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest.
I would be very surprised. A1 Nangle, $5 super chat. Game Pass.
No, I wouldn't be surprised if people ask for it.
Oh, you wouldn't be? I would be. Well,
no.
I mean, that's me. I would be surprised, but
I don't put it past them.
$5 super chat. Sorry, I fucking stayed up all night and my throat is now starting to rebel. $5 super chat. That sounds dirty. I stayed up all night talking. with the guys and girls, and now my throat is starting to rebel because I talked a bunch. Okay, anyway. A1 Nangle, $5 super chat. Game Pass is just modern blockbuster with rentals. Also, are you planning on seeing Tron Ares on 1010 or any plans to see anything else in theaters? I've got a fucking ticket for that movie. Yes, I'm going with Cadiz. We're going to go day one. I cannot wait.
Nice.
I'm so excited for that shit. Yeah, I cannot wait. I'm a big Tron fan, though. I mean, that's just the way it is, you know.
They did actually, I mean, Blockbuster here actually lived on here for longer than it did anywhere else. And by the end, they were actually offering subscription services for going in and just picking up a film, however many films you wanted.
Yeah. I mean, they're everywhere, man. Like, I feel like in the next 2 years, everything's changing so much that I don't put anything past anybody now when it comes to like the subscriptions in particular.
And right now, I'm actually subscribed to a service that started last year for movie theaters here, where you subscribe and you can go and watch however many movies, however often you want.
Yeah, there's one here too. There is one here of some kind. I've never done it because I don't go to enough movies at all. Like I go to one every 6 months or something. But
like they're so expensive here going to the movies that the subscription basically covers more than watching 2 movies. So
yeah,
that's why I signed up.
$15 a seat for our movies. Well, if you go prime time, if you go like off prime time, it's like
yeah, ours is 20.
Yeah, so it's not bad. Deagle says, like that great Torino line, boy, does my ass hurt from the guys at my construction job. Not at all like that, but you go, girl. Dylan says, watch it make a U-turn. We end up having bundles cheaper than individual back in the cable days. My cable, when I canceled it, was $120.
Oof.
So, yeah. And by the way, just like with Game Pass or PlayStation Plus, if you like those, or Nintendo, there was always 80% of it I didn't use. You know, there'd be like Telemundo. And you're all, dude, I can't use that. Like, I can't. Well, I mean, I could, but I'm not going to use it. Yeah.
I mean, I used to subscribe to the Viaplay service. I think I mentioned it before here, which is a lot of like streaming, but also sports. And I paid, I don't know, $90. That rose to like $90 a month.
Damn.
Yeah,
dude, that's.
But I mean, that had like Champions League, Formula One, all that really, really popular licensed stuff. So that was what really pushed the price up. But yeah, they just multiple times a year they would hike up the price, and I eventually just said no.
Yeah. There's always a breaking point for everybody, and then the world changes and where you work and all that kind of stuff. I was gonna say real quick, because somebody mentioned YouTube. Like, look at YouTube TV or whatever it is. I can't remember the name of it. That shit's like $110 a month or something. It's something ungodly.
Damn.
Money.
It's funny though, because when I tried to end the subscription, it was really difficult to actually end it. And then when I finally managed it, they came back with, no, you can actually just keep your subscription if you stay with us at the current price point.
Yeah, that seems, I mean.
And I went, nah.
Yeah. Well, usually they'll drop us, they'll drop your price here. So you'll be like, if you try to cancel, they'll be like, okay, will you stay on for half price for a year or something like that? But if I'm leaving a subscription and it's not if I'm canceling a subscription, I get that little pop-up. I'm always like, why would I sign on? I'm already like, it's probably the desire to just separate it from completely. It's like, well, will you sign a 1-year contract for half price? And I'm like, what? No. What are we talking about? I mean, I might do a monthly. If you give me monthly at half price, I might think about, going a month or 2 longer. But yeah, so they raised the price. It went over like the shit you expect it would. It absolutely. I mean, well, like I said, some people are fine with it. I think, in all honesty, it would be weird for anybody to be happy about a price raise. Like, if it was $2, let alone 15 or 14.
There is extra like insult to injury there, because for people on PC, for example, you had the PC Game Pass, which is not the ultimate. So if you like the way it was for us, at least here, you have the PC, which was $10, $11, £5 per month, and you get everything on PC, right? You get day one games, all that stuff. And then the Ultimate, the only difference was that you had both Xbox and PC if you wanted that.
Yeah, yeah.
Now it's kind of, you're in the shit tier now because you no longer have day one stuff. So in this tier, it's now like just the super basic stuff and the big package of kind of not new games, which is still a lot of games, but it's a big difference when you look at the value you were getting comparatively, where like even day one COD and stuff was there for $11, and now it's I think double that for the Ultimate, where you do get all these premium games day one.
Of course, Ultimate also includes EA Play.
It includes EA Play, yeah, true.
Yeah,
I should. I will say this: the thing, Dodger just said you still get day one with PC Game Pass. They checked a minute ago. So I don't know if that's true or not in Europe or whatever, but
so it's no longer called PC Game Pass, right? That's the whole thing. They
no,
changed
it is called PC Game Pass. That one stayed. At least in their announcement that I got, it basically stated that one is staying the same. It's just going up in price, but everything was staying the same. And I didn't see a name change, but it was a sort of a messy part in the announcement as well. I remember they had everything else blocked out, and they're like, "Oh, for all you plebes who have the PC Game Pass." It was like it didn't even have a block section for the. Then
tab. It's not so bad because what I saw is only the Ultimate having day one. So it's not as bad as I thought.
Yeah, that's not as bad. But it's still a price increase, right?
Yeah,
and nobody's gonna like that shit. I was gonna say the one thing about day one. I also did check with a couple companies if they were planning on doing day one and which versions. The one thing to remember is that the premium has day one from the big companies, but other companies can still do day one on the premium, not the Ultimate, but on the premium. So there are some companies still planning on releasing day ones there. That day one restriction seems to be mostly Microsoft stuff. The AAA companies or their companies. Right. We'll say that.
Yeah.
And then so that all goes over, and it was interesting to see how everybody took it, because like there were people outraged, or people like, we're going to cancel. There were people like, whatever, I get my money out of it. And it is always funny that people forget how many don't do that service. I mean, there's a lot of people who do, but the number of people that don't do that service and just buy their games, don't think about it or whatever, who are sort of on the side, don't engage in any of that stuff. I always forget that like not everybody's either, for or against. Some people are completely apathetic towards it, and they're like, oh, whatever. It's just like sort of weird to talk to people, especially in our chat Discord, because it went live when we were all in there, and to sort of have everybody popping back, on and off about it. Then they also added streaming. They put 1440p streaming. They improved that. They need to improve that streaming, man. If Xbox has got any problem, it's that they push that they've got the cloud, and their cloud is balls. Like, it's bad. They've done some improvements. I'll give them that. But and 1440p, that's great. But dude, their bit rate is just, it's terrible. It's terrible. And it's the same.
Still,
it's terrible. Yeah. And it's so, I get that they're saying it is more, but let me explain something. If you have 1080p at a certain bit rate and you go to 1440p at the same FPS with the same bit rate, does anybody in the world think that that's going to look dramatically different? Because it just doesn't. And especially with the codecs they're using. They just doesn't look great. They need, and then latency and all that kind of stuff that they still haven't improved either. I know they're working on it, but I would like to see all that stuff get improved, especially when they have the what is it? The ROG Ally, their handheld, which they're pushing, like, hey, you can stream on this thing, which helps because it's a smaller screen. But if your latency is shit, you're not going to want to, partake in whatever those bonuses are. So, yeah, it'd be interesting to see how all this pans out, because I just think people are completely distraught with, at least everybody I know is like, it's not just one, it's all of them. It's like that we just keep adding on to these, and it gets rough. I want to make sure I didn't miss this one. Spetsu, PLN 29.99 super chat. Whenever anybody tells me they listen to everything, I blast them with raw black metal. Dude, I listen to country sometimes. Raw black metal's pussy music. It's nothing. I'm just joking. Let's see. How much do you guys play per hour per week how much do you guys play per hour per week to justify gameplay? To justify Game Pass? I can play only a couple hours per week, so it's not worth it for me. Well, a couple hours per week would actually be even more than I probably play Game Pass games, and it would definitely be worth it for me. I guess it depends on how you do entertainment. Do you do it like a movie? If you do it like a movie, a movie's 2.5 hours at $15 to $20. So,
Yeah.
like, if you do it that way, then you wouldn't have to play many hours in a week for somebody to be able to.
It also depends if you're jumping games, right? So, like this week you're trying one game, next week you're trying another. I think that's where you get a lot of value from Game Pass too. Whereas if you're playing the one single game, you're a Destiny enjoyer. Then it just makes sense for you to probably own that game or like have your eggs in that basket.
Yeah,
instead.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Jesus, Johnny, thanks. Dude, I was talking about subscriptions and I forgot to mention how many games still have subscriptions too.
True.
Or they have some, whether it be an MMO or whatever, they still have their subscription. So it's like you might be
That's another added
dude, you might be paying
thing.
2 or 3 at some point. Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned it. Yeah.
The EA Play thing is a huge thing for me, actually. Part of the value proposition there. Because it lets me go. It lets me go play the EA Sports games from the previous year.
Oh, true.
Like FIFA or NHL, where I tend to play the player career modes and have fun with those. And then on top of that, I then have the Game Pass options. With Game Pass Ultimate. So for me, the value proposition is there. I'm not really granular about leveraging hours in that way. In terms of a value proposition, it's more that the value's there for when or if I want it. And then maybe I'll play, 12 hours one week, but then I won't play the next week or whatever. But the values proposition is still there for me.
Yeah, I would also say I'm definitely not granular. Like I will do it when I'm talking about a game for like a purchase, like are you going to purchase this or whatever? Like that's pretty easy to be granular, especially if it's over many, many hours. But like when you're getting a bunch of input, for example, like a TV streaming service, let's say they add a channel that I suddenly like, then that worth goes up. Even if it only goes up for a small amount of time when that streaming service gets added to the one I'm already subscribed to. So there's this fucking thing that occurs.
Sure.
So yeah, I definitely would say I'm probably not granular. Also, there is a lot of times a desire that I have to play games that stunningly do not drop in price. And I don't know
I've
why,
had that,
but I swear to God, I will go, I want to play this game. It'll be on Game Pass. And I'll be like, well, I want to play it on something else. Let's say I want to play it on the PlayStation or whatever. And by the way, this has actually happened a lot where I'll be like, oh, I want to play it. And I'll go look and I'll be like, holy shit, this thing's still $49.99. I'll just download the Xbox version, even though my friend might be playing on PlayStation. I'm like, you're going to have to come play here, or hopefully it's crossplay, because I'm not, I don't know how many hours we're going to play this older game, but it's available here for my charge I've already paid for. So that definitely comes into it too. Yeah. So I get it. I know that people always get mad at each other. I saw people like online who were like, I can't believe you fucking hate everything. And I can't believe you buy everything. Just like, dude, I mean, let's be honest. If there's anything to worry about, it would probably be somebody's porn search history and not what they subscribe to when it comes to their game stuff.
True. And let's be honest, I think everybody knows how much value they're getting from a subscription. Like when you lay down at night, how do you feel about, your Netflix subscription, or like if you feel like you've been getting a lot of value, just, you've been watching a lot of stuff, it's felt great, you feel pretty good about it, right? And you have this feeling that you got your money's worth from it. Yeah. And I don't think you need to calculate it at the hour value. If you feel good about the subscription, I think there's a good chance you're in a good spot. But if you're like on the fence, that's where it might be useful for you to think, does it make sense for me to just maybe buy those 2 games I'm going to play instead? It might, it might make more sense.
So the other thing that popped up was there's the rumor that had started year prior, which we had heard about and it never came about, which was a free tier, which involves an ad. So then I saw more tweets that I can't remember, but somebody had stated that they had talked to people who were like on an insider ring in Xbox, where there was like a ad at the starting of a game, and then you were able to play the game for a certain number of hours, and then there was an ad, whatever. I don't mind. So here's the thing. If I load up a game, let's say anything, game, movie, whatever, if I load it up, here's what I don't want. I don't want an ad in the center. I just don't.
Right.
I don't want an ad like we get with YouTube or whatever, as somebody right now is probably, sitting there going like, I just watched an ad. So those kind of things, if it's going to be preloaded in a TV show or a movie, I want it to start in like trailers in a movie, to where I can be like, okay, you want to load me an ad for 2 minutes? I'm going to take a piss. I'm going to grab my pop. You show me the ad. Until you get a webcam staring at me to verify I'm watching your ad, I'm not going to worry about an ad skip. I'll let that thing play, and then I'll play it for as many hours as I can. What I don't want is what UFC tried to do. I don't know if you guys remember this, but UFC had some ads that popped up for a short amount of time during replays. And it was like, it popped up at a really weird time, and I never got to experience it. This is all from like reports that people had said where it popped up for a bit, and it was like, I can't remember if it was full screen or something, but it was almost like the Amazon ads. I don't know if you guys have seen those lately, but you'll be watching a show on Amazon and it'll move the show over and it'll put the ad here, and the show will be like paused, but it'll do there's not a skip. It's mended into the signal, which is what I told you would happen a couple years ago when I said YouTube took over our ad placements. And the reason why is because they're trying to get a codec that's fast enough that they can mend your ad into the video. So the only way to skip it is like some of the programs I've seen where if people identify where the ads are, you can get a extension for your browser that's like the ad is at 301 and it doesn't look at the metadata. It's like it's going by time. But you know what? If it's a real-time stream and they're able to do it in the future, they're going to inject those at random times, And that's the other thing. From what I understand right now with the auto ads and watching it with people in the channel, they're not all getting the same ads at the same time already. So that means it's already randomizing the ad times. Like, you'll see. I think you've seen this. I don't remember if you talked about this, Johnny, but when you upload, if you leave that thing on its own, this podcast had 98 ads. 90 fucking 8
like
ads.
Spots, different just random
boom,
spots.
Boom. And so I was like, oh my God, people are getting 98 ads. And I went in there to delete it. And I've been deleting them every time. And then when I was talking to the guys in chat, they're like, I don't see 98. I do see a lot of ads sometimes, like if I've forgotten to delete them. But they're not seeing all of those. And that's because YouTube is like, what does Johnny watch? What's he okay with? When does he click away? Let's do it 30 seconds earlier, or something like that.
Right.
Lewiston says, let's be honest. If you're a player that doesn't revisit games after you beat them, so owning it doesn't really matter, and Game Pass is still a great deal if you sub for just a particular time for a specific game. Yeah, I mean, that's a good point too. There's all kinds of points. I mean, I just don't like a price raise because I don't want to spend more goddamn money. Like, that's it. Like, I just don't want more money. I've only got a certain amount.
It might be enough of a raise, like $3-4, whatever it is, that you start to think, do I really want this subscription?
Yeah.
Because for some people, it might have already been on the fence.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then now it's...
The ad stuff is something that really, really bothers me with a lot of these.
See no ads?
Yeah. Absolutely.
No,
I mean,
I'm with you.
Even that premium service I talked about, Viaplay, where I paid through the nose for it. They had ads in especially their Formula One content was riddled with ads. Like during Formula One races, they would cut away to ad breaks, and it really, really, really bothered me because I was paying through the nose for it.
Yeah, you're paying.
So
I like the I don't mind the option of a cheaper tier with
no,
ads.
I don't either.
Yeah, because we've seen it with Disney,
that's for them,
and you know,
yeah.
I mean, for them, it's also because they were basically playing the televised broadcast because Viasat is also like a Scandinavian television network.
Yeah, it was like normal television feed.
Yeah, that they were basically playing. So they were playing their ad breaks, but really there was no reason for them to cut away, especially because I had watched NHL games like on that service. And in the ad breaks during those NHL games, I think I've talked about, they actually didn't cut to ads. They didn't cut to the American ads. They just had empty space where sometimes they would just like show the arena, and then sometimes I would hear the broadcasters talking in their break, not realizing they had live mics to people here in Scandinavia.
That's worth it.
Who are watching those podcasts.
Yeah.
Which could be interesting, but also it could be funny sometimes, but a lot of the time it was actually interesting in hearing how the analysts broke down plays play by play and how they would start drawing to analyze the plays and whatnot, and seeing what worked and what didn't for their analysis and stuff like that, and bouncing that stuff off each other. Those conversations could be interesting, a lot more interesting than ads, certainly.
Here's what I think will happen. And I think you can take it to the bank, but I could be wrong. We already see ads read by your favorite podcast host, right? Let me stop this to read our sponsor, which is telehealth, right? I personally just think if it continues to be an issue and there's technical ways to get around it, all that stuff, they're just going to continue to go at the influencers, the websites, the channels, to try to get them to read more in there, pay more, read more. Suddenly somebody will be like, this sponsorship is by Ford pickup trucks instead of a Ford commercial. And they'll try to work it out that way. It's never going to stop because they do need to make money, and they do, need it. You know what I mean? They want to make money.
Yeah.
And they're selling something, just like I'm selling something, just like everybody's selling something. But I think that's overall what we'll see in the future, because it's getting pretty bad. There's a couple of podcasts I really like, and they have like 4 3-minute long ad reads.
Oh, dude.
Yeah. By the way, I'm not mad at, I don't get mad at the ad read or the person. They're doing whatever they're doing, and they're not like what we're talking about with reviews or something where it's sponsored. They're like in a podcast. Do whatever you want. But it's hard to sit through because it'll be like in a big cool moment of the podcast. And they'll be like, we'll be right back.
Let's take 5 minutes to talk about Blue Chew.
Dude, and like I told you last week, every single time, this is my favorite headset. Oh, really, jackass? Why aren't you using it next week? Why aren't you using it the week after? Because you're a fucking liar. If you're, I would much rather have somebody be like, and you do hear it sometimes where somebody's like, I use this. And there's times where I believe them. But you can say you use it, and by using it, say you pick it up. Hello, does this work? Yep. Okay, I used it.
Used it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the way it's going to go, I think. Let's see. People should never think Microsoft or any corporation has any good intentions, just want your money and see people as commodities. But yeah, they're a company. It's quite literally the way it goes. I mean, it would be weird if they did. I don't think any company's saving anybody from floods anytime soon. Moving on from there, let's go to EA. So EA is going private, getting out of the investor game completely. There's a big deal, billions of dollars being made, and people are worried it's going to result in like developer cuts, that kind of stuff, because most of these
and leveraging debt.
Yeah, any kind of like these kind of things usually involve some kind of movements or adjustments. I don't know which ones will happen. I do want to say this though. It's not just the small like groups that aren't doing anything. Could be big groups that are doing something, but I think a lot of times there's a familiarity that developers and publishers have, where sometimes the developer and publisher, maybe a game gets to be worked on a little longer than possibly should be, or there's a little bit more leeway. I think BioWare is the one that I'm like the most not worried about. I worry about anybody losing their job.
A lot of people are.
Yeah, but I think that BioWare in particular, they just have had, their troubles.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are scared for BioWare.
Yeah, and
sure.
I just feel like that's the one where the only hope I have is that wherever Mass Effect is, it's good enough to show somebody and say this is, because as somebody who's been a part of a merge before, you have huge investigations. You have people going and talking to leads and being like, where are you with this project? I don't know if Johnny's done this, but whenever you cut, you're like, okay, one person's going to have to take on 3 jobs. That's impossible. So we're going to give them 1.5. So we need to look at all 3 jobs, figure out where they are, how far along they are, what's their promise of future income, what's the promise of future use, you know, how does the lead handle it? Is the lead good? We're going to keep that lead. We're not going to keep that lead.
Yeah.
I would say BioWare is the
for
one.
me. For me, also Codemasters,
and Codemasters, yeah.
especially after they axed WRC.
Yeah, they
like F1 is basically all they do.
F1
at the
is
moment.
all they do, right? Yeah. Or at least what I've heard. I mean, I could be wrong on that. I don't like actively.
Yeah, I mean, what we know of, they could have unannounced projects. Yeah.
But we'll have to see how that works. They're not the only ones. Listen to this. I'm just going to read some of these guys. This is crazy. So EA, by the way, EA did say no immediate changes after buyout. That's pretty normal because they have to investigate it. And that's not a promise on their part. They worded it that way. That's like life.
That's like for now.
Yeah, for now. And
evil laugh, you know.
Or well, yeah, that too. Yeah. All right. Avalanche Studios. This is all the closures that I know. There's more, but this is just some of them. Avalanche Studios is closing Liverpool office. Layoffs are hitting Stockholm, and I can't Malmo. After the Xbox. Really? Okay. After the Xbox published Counterband was halted, and this is the studio's 3rd site closure in a single year, or in a single year's time, 12 months, we'll say. Starbreeze canceled its co-op D&D project called Project Baxter, laid off 44 staff, and it's moving the resources to rebuild. This is a weird one, I think. Rebuild Payday 3 into a modern live engagement game and aiming for positive cash flow in 2026. So I don't know where it is now in its monetization.
It's in a really, really rough spot, Payday 3. There's currently, I think it's 25,000 concurrent players on Payday 2. There's around 800 on Payday 3.
Okay. So that ain't good. And then what else isn't good? Kingmakers was delayed about an hour prior to the podcast starting. And they didn't say how long. They said they're going to do a live stream, but Kingmakers is a game I've been looking forward to. But what did I say last week to the people in chat who I know are listening? Told you, because that had been sort of like a out loud secret. So that has been delayed. Funcom announced layoffs after Dune Awakening's launch. We've heard about that one already. Those were just the ones I've heard of, or the ones that popped up in searches. And I'm sure there's more. So this week and maybe the last 2 weeks has been like crazy. Just crazy numbers of layoffs and studio closures and movements. It's just damn. The Payday one is not surprising. They're all surprising, but the Payday one is the weirdest one to me, because I'm not going to be rude or not going to pull punches. I think the game is in everything I've heard is not only from Silver, but everybody I've talked to and some people who are on it were like, this thing is in deep shit. And the idea of turning that around into a here's what I would almost wonder why. I don't know their business, so I'm just saying, like, do you assist other companies and become like a port assist studio, which we've seen some great success from some studios where they just become a port studio and they help other companies work on games all over the world? Do you do that instead and you try to get your footing under you where you know you have a promised paycheck in the future versus Payday 3, which turning Payday 3 around is...
Yeah, I mean,
where do you start?
They also just shot themselves in the foot because they tried to, there's a lot of content for Payday 2, a lot of DLC. I think if you want to buy everything, it's close to, like, there's a bundle for like $200 now, which is a part of what they got in trouble for now, because they tried to open a speaking of subscriptions, they tried to open a subscription service that gives you access to all the DLC for Payday 2. But then they coincided this with a major price hike in the bundle for all the DLC, for buying all the DLC, to sort of try and push you into getting the subscription.
Oh,
Which did not sit well with the player
Yeah.
base.
Yeah,
Payday 2.
that's not good.
And the Payday fan community, and the situation there was already tense from the release of Payday 3 and all the stuff that's sort of gone on there in the 2 years past, or 2 years since it released. I mean, it released 2 years ago now. And yeah, I mean, the situation with that game is just rough, and the idea of turning it into a line, I really don't know how they could even go about doing that, given the state the game is in at the moment and the community around the game at the moment. I mean, they would have to be some kind of major grassroots efforts to really get a community going around that game again.
Yeah.
Given how it's fallen away. Yeah. I don't see it for them.
Yeah, I don't either. Like, unfortunately, Spetsu says Kingmaker's delay is as surprising as GTA's delay. Okay, that is true. That is true. Harsh but true. Also, listen, if you guys are canceling stuff, I would say your best bet, man, is to join the ACG Discord tomorrow, Saturday.
True.
We're doing an FMV weekend. We've started those. Last weekend we did Chinese Empress or whatever. It was an FMV in Chinese. I mean, there was English subtitles. Otherwise, it'd be really weird. But we had like 20 people in there watching FMV game, watching Solar do an FMV game. Tomorrow we're doing the same thing. We also do UFC and stuff like that. So if you guys want to join, feel free. But if you want to save your money, save it, man. I'd love for you to join us because we're doing some cool stuff. But God damn it, like things are expensive enough. Road to Empress is what Kigaruse says. Sorry, I have to say that every time. But yeah, so it was a great time. It was probably one of the most enjoyable times I've ever had in that Discord. And I've had great times. I don't know what it was. It was just frigging hilarious. And
I missed that. I have to join the next one. That's really fun.
You know how you and I tried to watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine? And we tried, but we couldn't necessarily get the exact online.
Sure.
You know,
like sync up or whatever.
Up. So because of the way this is, you know, the sync is just the game and him playing it. And I'm thinking that's why it was so good, was because it was so easy for us to sync up and everybody was just watching this game. And then he started dying from everything, you know, because it's an FMV game. They're supposed to kill you, right? And it was awesome. We were making bets like, okay, if you choose this, 50% chance you're dying, you know, 20% chance.
Yep.
No, this is the good chance. No, this is the bad one. It was awesome. Like, you know how I always joke about, or don't joke, but Fridays are like the laid back day because we do this. That was this awesome time where I was like, holy shit, you know, and all my times in there are great, but like that was just doubly great. That was like, wow, that's something we should do. Maybe not all the time, but you know, for the next couple times. So if you guys join up, you can jump in and do that. Moving on from the dreary and sad for a second, let's talk about something good.
What do you got?
Oh, nothing. I'm just joking. I've got something.
We're done. There's no pause.
Ubisoft and Tencent's, you know, side thing, Vantage Studios, they got spooled up to start working on AC, Far Cry, and Rainbow Six. And that news was announced, and I got to admit, I'm wondering how that team, which I think is 2,000, like how many are working on, you know, what?
Yeah.
In that team?
How did they plug in?
Yeah,
in what's going on?
There's a lot of game there to be made. You know, like trying to roll out. Like how long is it going to be to see that output, and you know what that output's going to look like. But I was sort of excited to see that happen because I would like to just see them make some games. I'd like to see a new Far Cry because I love Far Cry, man. I don't love it. 6 was. It was a game released in a year, but I mean.
It was a video game.
It was a video game, barely. So talk about a misuse of an actor. Damn.
Do we see that often? Just like new subsidiaries spooling up and doing something that's not like a new
Oh, you mean
game.
rolling off occasionally, but it's not super often. Yeah, not like this. Like, I mean, you see it in
Yeah.
other industries for sure. But
Yeah. Because this
musical
was pretty
industries.
radical. It was kind of like, here's a big injection of capital, right, from the Tencent
And let's remove you from
investment.
the stock market kind of thing, which is sort of what EA is
Right.
doing. Get you out of the investor market. But
Mhm.
talking about a market, Brazil bans loot boxes for under 18s. Is this yours?
Yeah.
So
So
explain
president of Brazil
right.
banned. So it's a bit vague actually, because it says that anything that is either aimed at children or possibly could be consumed by children. And I mean, that's a big word,
That's
possibly.
vague as shit. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anything like that, you are forbidden to have loot boxes in. So this could be like mobile games. It could be online games that are not like specifically tagged for adults. So it's a pretty big move. We've had, I think, 2 countries do this. I believe Belgium did it, and I think the Netherlands did it also, but not a ton of countries yet have followed suit with like flat out banning.
So do you think
loot
it'll
boxes.
be like Peggy 12 or something and under? Like, will they be like Peggy? I mean, because technically a child depends on what state in America, but you guys, I think, have more of an aligned one. But Peggy 18 would technically, anything under Peggy 18 would be like for kids, which is it's pretty crazy. I mean, it's sort of vague. Like, I don't really know what any of that means. Like, is he a guy who promises? First of all, is whoever did this, is he a guy who's like, I'm gonna land somebody on Mars in a week or whatever? And you're like, okay,
and then it comes a week.
Yeah, yeah. And
nothing
he's like,
happened.
what I meant was a week, not next week. I meant just a week.
No, this is Lula, the president, and I mean, so far, I think he's done what he said, for good or bad.
Really?
So, okay. I think so. I'm not super in touch with politics, but that guy was around like 20 years ago when I was living in Brazil as a kid. So he's been around the block, and yeah. So the UK was also playing around with banning loot boxes, but nothing happened yet. And again, those other 2 countries did it. So it's curious to see if more will start to follow the trend.
Can't we just say,
Silver, sorry, you're muted, by the way.
Sorry, you're muted. Sorry, Silver. Go ahead,
presumably, you would have to age gate it behind like that loot box content behind credit card or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's one way to do it. I do believe in that. I think a credit card is good. If somebody steals a credit card, that's not a part, that's like not a part of this discussion to me. It's like, we'll set an age, blah, blah, blah. But I would also say, if you're just going to ban them, ban the fucking things, and let's quit dallying around. Like, ban them, be like, this is a loot box, make a very clear definition of it, because I'm going to tell you right now, I still don't like gotcha games. There's some, I feel like
it's dodgy.
Yeah,
that's all very predatory.
Yeah. You're still soaking, if anybody knows what that means. But you're still, you are. Come on, come on. You see those and you're like, dude, that's really, close. So just ban the damn things. But as Silver just pointed out, credit card, right? Just say you have to be the age to get a credit card. To be the age to, because I mean, what's aimed at? Like, you know what I mean? Like, might as well. Why don't you do this credit card thing instead of being aimed at? What does that mean? Like, is some government group? We've seen how shit that works. Some government group who's supposed to decide, and how do we know somebody isn't paid off by some huge company that's worth billions? That's like, hey man, if you let this one pass, we'll roll some of them gotcha bucks to you. We'll give your kids some Fortnite skins.
Yeah, just like slowly slide an envelope on the table.
Yeah, so do the credit card. I mean, I know some people are going to be like, what if somebody steals a credit card? What if they steal your fucking car and they're too young to drive? That has nothing to do with any of the other laws. Like, it's just like, it's still, they broke it. They did their shit. So I think a credit card's probably your best bet. Yeah, start it out.
There's been some other gambling stuff adjacent. Like, for example, even on Twitch, you can bet your channel points. So if you watch a channel, you get channel points, and then you can do things like predictions where you predict a certain thing, like, am I going to kill the boss this attempt? Yes or no. And if you win that, you win points. If you lose that, you lose the points you bet.
And
some countries have banned that.
And this is for what?
So
Twitch.
this in Twitch, when you're watching a stream, you have your channel points for that channel, and then you can bet them in a prediction, for example. And some countries have banned that. I think Netherlands, for example, you can't participate in predictions because of that reason, because it's like gambling adjacent.
So I didn't know that was available on Twitch. So you're okay. And then Kick allows gambling, right? Doesn't Kick allow gambling?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. It's always so messed up because it's like you never quite know what anybody or any company or anybody who says like aimed at or whatever. It's impossible to know what that even means. So it's like, you know what?
Yeah, just like the hot tub streams on Twitch were not technically aimed at children, but let's be honest,
Dude, the hot tub streams on Twitch, I did not know were as bad as they were, and they're still bad. I went this was about 3 or 4 weeks ago. We were in chat, and we were on Twitch and just watching something. And then I was like, oh, there's all, the popular channels. So I was just clicking down the popular channels. And there's a channel where like 3 girls are on a boat in their swimming suits. And then somebody like they had like all jump in the water for like $20, all do jumping jacks for like $10, all this stuff. And I was like, damn, that's some dark shit. It just feels gross. I don't know.
But, it does. Yeah.
Okay, I mean, I will do jumping jacks for anybody who I'm just joking. I'm not even going to say that because then somebody will, do a super chat for it. Yeah, it's a weird one, man. I don't know. It's just one of those things where it's hard to know. I didn't know, like, what's Brazil? How big is the gaming industry in Brazil? Is it?
I'm out of touch, honestly. I don't know.
Do you even talk to anybody from there anymore? Do you have family there?
Yeah, a few cousins. Yeah, I have some cousins that I talk to.
Let's see. What else do we got? Game Pass, we covered that. PlayStation 30-year. SBZ says, damn, what channel was that, Carrick? I don't remember, but I would assume if you typed in girls on Twitch jumping out of their boat for money, you'd probably find it. I feel like
the funny thing is that Twitch is so bad for discoverability that you wouldn't even be able to find it that way because it's so terrible, but it will float to the top. So like
their boobs.
You just go to viewers, based on viewers, and it will be there.
Based on
even
boobs.
Though they banned the category of like hot tubs, but it's still there. It's just
but you can't ban rivers,
just chatting,
right? I feel like this is the way it is. It's like, oh, you can't. So we ban hot tubs, and they're like, no worries, we'll just go to the creek. It's like, dude, it's almost like what we just said about aiming at kids, for your stuff. It's like, dude, just a lot of hot boobs. Is that my car alarm? No, it is not. Next up, let's move on. Gooner's gonna goon. Yeah, that is true. Johnny also had PlayStation 30-year anniversary. What's your best PlayStation memory? Is that what you meant?
Yeah, I thought it would be cool, just like in a quick commemoration. Like, do you have any good memories from maybe PS1 or PS2, like the early times where you loaded up a game and it was magical for some reason? Maybe playing with a friend. I remember like Dino Crisis. I plugged that in. I played with a friend. We had like a guide. One of us was always looking at the guide, the other playing, and we would take turns and stuff. That was pretty magical.
What about you,
I think
Silver?
Final Fantasy VIII was a pretty big one.
8?
Yeah, because it had the more grounded because it had a sword, a gun sword, or whatever. But more grounded sort of graphical approach than 7. And it had some really, really spectacular set pieces. In particular, I remember the battle between the gardens in the floating airships or floating battle air battleships, military schools, fighting in the air, being like completely blowing me away at the time as one of the most spectacular things that had ever been seen in gaming at that time.
You said that was that 1 or 2? PlayStation 1 or 2 for that game?
PlayStation 1.
Damn. It was on 8 at PlayStation 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, dude.
Yeah, that's a
There
lot
was
of
at
titles.
4 on
SNES?
and at 5 and 6 was on SNES. Yeah,
Damn.
7 was the transition to PlayStation 1.
Mine is always going to be Bully. I didn't have a PlayStation 4. Didn't really like, for whatever reason, I just, most of their games didn't impress me too much, and I didn't really do or enjoy any PlayStation stuff. And I wanted to play Bully, and because I like the idea. And so my friend brought his PlayStation 4, or sorry, PlayStation 4. No, not that, not that reason. Brought his PlayStation 2 over, and it was Halloween, and we happened to play up until the point of Halloween in Bully. And it sounds really dumb because I was a grown-ass man, but the synergy of the time was really nostalgic. And I think I just started dating my wife. I think, yeah, I had. And so we were all sitting there, and it was on, and it was Halloween, and I was just like, dude, this is, like, there's something, because there are not a lot of games that changed the seasons. I mean, there were some, but it just happened to do it, and it was nostalgic already. So I was just like, oh, damn. Carrick, dude, jumping jack. No, Spetsu. Super chat. Negatory, good buddy. What were you saying? Go ahead.
Also, Tomb Raider, the original Tomb Raider, for sure.
Triangle boobies. Dude, the original Tomb Raider, the Tyrannosaurus or the dinosaur in the cave.
Yeah, the T-Rex.
And that shit shaking, I absolutely scared the shit out of me. I don't know why, but
I had the misfortune of also playing that game on PC where the controls with mouse and keyboard
were terrible.
Oh my god,
dude,
beyond horrendous.
Yeah, because they
like
felt,
the tank controls.
Yes, and
they were the tank controls. Yeah,
they were like translated wrong over, and nothing felt good in it. It was Beyond Good and Evil's that way. The original.
And also, you had to keep the space bar pressed when you jumped to latch on to the edge, otherwise she wouldn't latch on and hold on. She would just fall right there.
You did. You had to hit the button to hold on. Ooh.
Yeah.
That's when they didn't hold your hand. Pun intended. Omar says, congrats on the new studio. Thank you, man. That's mine. It's my guitar. I've been, but I've mastered the guitar like a sim. I just played it for a little while, filled up that bar. I'm done. Past Johnny long ago, like just easily.
Yeah.
And then that's my couch.
Never touch it again now.
Where I do casting. I'm just joking.
Yeah.
That's my speaker. That T-Rex scared the crap out of me. Jer says? Jer? Is that how you pronounce your name? Jer Aho? Yeah. Anyway, and somebody else says those games felt so eerie. I think they did feel. I think the Tomb Raider games were definitely more like spooky based back in the day.
Yeah.
At least I felt that way in 1. I don't remember 2. I think 2 would have been. I think I might have skipped 2. Vapor Blood says, my 60-year-old
It was probably my favorite in the series, honestly.
2?
Yeah.
Vapor Blood says, my 60-year-old science teacher back in the days says he liked Tomb Raider for the puzzles. Yeah, sure he did. Oh, you mean because of the boobs and the butt?
Triangle.
I think Tomb Raider might have been. No, that's not true. I guess which came first, Tomb Raider 1 or Final Fantasy 7? Final Fantasy.
Tomb Raider 1.
Tomb Raider 1. Okay. I was gonna say I think Tomb Raider 1 might have been the first character that a lot of people were like, hey, versus sort of trying to figure out how they looked, but like Tomb Raider. They definitely they got her thighs, remember, in the cutoff shorts or whatever. They were.
I mean, it was one of the first like major like 3D platformers.
Yeah, they knew what they were doing. They knew what they were doing with that. Yeah, that was it was an enjoyable game though. I mean, holding on, goddamn, man, I forgot all about that.
Yeah.
I forgot, man. Maybe I forgot because it
was
the
trauma won't let me forget.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe I use better health.
Yeah.
And I've been lost out
memories.
of my PTSD.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is not a sponsorship, by the way. That's a joke. But yeah. Let's see what we have some other ones here. What is one of your most memorable group gaming moments? Where did this come from? Is this from Johnny?
No.
Or did I paste this in? Okay. What's one of the most memorable group gaming moments? Video games, tabletop, arcade. For me, it was Unreal Tournaments 1999 in middle school. And also Shadowrun runs. I'm assuming he means what? Xboxes? Shadowrun? Unless he means D&D. He might mean D&D. So many random scenarios and wonderful disasters. What's your favorite co-op gaming moment? Can be games, can be board games, D&D, video games.
There's one I think I've shared before from Rebellion's 1999 Aliens versus Predator, which I was playing with two friends in an internet cafe for like a LAN overnight stay, where they had you basically had a survival mode where you were fighting hordes of aliens as colonial marines, and we were doing that, and they were watching me because I think they were dead, so they were watching me play, and there was there was an alien, and I was shooting the grenade from the pulse rifle at the alien, and then another alien literally came jumping in from the side of the screen, blocked off the grenade in the air, and splashed acid blood all over me. Ouch. And killed me instantly. And we were laughing for like 5 minutes straight from that, like just completely random, like alien heroic suicide that killed me. As one of our sort of enduring gaming moments that we still talk about now, nearly 30 years later.
That's awesome. It's also cool that you know friends from 30 years ago, because a lot of people can't say that. I mean, honest truth. A lot of people, they go away. What about you, Johnny? Co-op gaming moment.
The magical time in university where we lived in this like dorm or residence, and we each of us had a laptop for university, and we installed like Warcraft 3, and we had the custom maps, like the fun maps that were like, fan made, like Footman Frenzy, even Dota back in the day, all of these like custom maps that we played together. And because we were in the perfect sweet spot of, we were old enough to live technically by ourselves in this residence, but we all lived in the same residence. So we could like just all go to one person's room with our laptops and do like an improvised LAN and just play all night. Because we were old enough to do that. But it was just that perfect sweet spot where we also weren't that old that we had a ton of responsibilities, right? We just had university. Just like go to class. So we would do that thing where like, boom, bring your laptops. We do a bunch of custom fun games in Warcraft 3 and like spend the night playing. It was a blast.
When you went to university, were you living on campus?
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Mine would be,
good times.
Oh, first of all, I'll read these guys. Also, the first Alien versus, this is Jer, I think Jer says, also the first Alien versus Predator was freaky. As a Marine, it was terrifying. Effort from me, or Free Me says Far Cry with a friend. Venster says Gauntlet Dark Legacy. Holy shit. Man, those were good times with that game. With friends and pizza. And then Jer says, I love doing lands, playing Left 4 Dead over, TCIP. 8 person was crazy. 4 humans versus 4 special zombies. Yeah, those were good.
I had a more serious one as well when I played with Milsim guys, military simulator guys. We played Operation Flashpoint with a mod that let us play the single-player missions in co-op. And one of the single-player missions is where you land as a special forces team, 3 guys, and you have to take out like 3 anti-air positions.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And we divided them up so that one guy took one position, one guy took another, and another guy took another. And then we agreed where to meet, a rendezvous point on the map, and then we just each went our separate ways. And then we met up at the rendezvous point after like nearly an hour or so. And then we all touched off our explosives at once and just blew everything up, and night turned into day. being a really, really cool moment.
A lot of mine were also Operation Flashpoint. And I'm not saying I remember it perfectly, but I swear to God that mod was called like SP as MP or SP as co-op. Because I definitely played that mod. And I remember just being like, that was one of my favorite missions. There was also a nighttime mission that I think we came in on a sub. This might have even been a player made one, but I remember just playing Operation Flashpoint, and you couldn't get that game to run super well if you had any kind of draw distance, sort of like it is today.
Yeah.
And I remember we'd crank it up, and then we'd watch the FPS and go, oof, and we'd get it like to that point to where you weren't getting sick, but you could see the enemy far enough away. Oh man, such a good time. Dude, I've played 90% of my life I play a lot of single player, but I don't really have other than like the bully thing. I think when it comes to like group gaming stuff, it changes too, because I experience them still. Like I still play with friends, and then you have recency bias because you just played a game with a pal, and you're like, well, that was a blast. That was a blast. That was a blast. Feels like everything's a blast. Zombie Woof says, winning my first sim racing league and getting to know the guys in the group. Very, very cool.
I mean, Helldivers has given me a ton as well, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. What else do we got here? Let's see. Do we have any other news stuff that I missed, Johnny?
Double check.
Oh, okay. Jer is just the Finnish version of my name, Jeremy. Well, my name's Jeremy too. So there we go. 2 Jeremys, 2 peas in a pod. Recently got my dad playing KCD 2. It's fun to talk about it and the history he already loves. That's
cool.
That's very cool. Yeah, but I mean, yeah, my mom played Frogger. That was the best I could get. What do we have anything in the Discord?
We got some questions. That's it. We hit all the news we had. This one from Sully. What's one of your most memorable? Oh, that you hit that one, right? Yeah, about the grouping.
Oh, that was the one.
Sorry,
okay,
the group
gotcha.
gaming.
Gotcha.
Yeah, there we go. So we hit that one. Not Dev Guy says, what are some of your favorite NPC interactions in a game? E.g., Ghost of Yote enemies yelling, don't let her get to the weapon after they disarm you. That's good. Yeah. NPC interactions. Favorite NPC interaction.
I remember a lot of in the 1997 LucasArts shooter Outlaws, which I frequently hailed on this podcast. There were a lot of amazing lines for the enemies that I still remember, again, nearly 30 years later. Like, where are you, Marshall? And stuff like that. Mm-hmm. When as you were moving through the levels. That was really, really good. Like, just the overall work on that game was amazing for that kind of vibe.
My answer
and
is
the lines were delivered well.
And mine is Kuno from Disco Elysium.
Oh,
that piece of shit. That little son of a bitch. I've never
still to this day, man.
To this day, dude. Every interaction I had with him, I was like, I hate you, which means I care. Not for him, but like I care about the game. And I just thought that interaction was so off the wall and weird that it will probably never go away. And it'll be one of those times where after playing it, I was just like, what the shit? That's so odd. It's just such a weird character. And it was so well done that Kuno is there's great NPCs. I love NPCs in BioWare games that are just phenomenal. But when a character like that comes up and you're like, dude, it's not only that you hate them, which is awesome. It means they're good at whatever they wrote. It's that they're awesome and you also want to know why they're like that. You're like, dude, it's not just that you hate them. It's that you're like, I hate you, but why are you... I want to keep talking to you. I'm like, why are you like this? Like, why would anybody be like that? Oh, he was so... And God, he was foul-mouthed, man.
Yeah. Holy.
Oh, man, the stuff he said, you were like, what the shit? Because games just don't talk to players like that. That was one of the things. That game didn't... You know how some games, they'll be like, we don't treat the gamer like a kid. And you're like, bullshit. You treat us like children with a microtransaction. Where that game was like, we don't treat you like a kid. And then you got that dude just calling you names that like, man, if that was...
Just like double take that
if
shit.
If that was
like,
a person in front of you, they'd be double leg takedown. Like, so fast. It was just ridiculous. What about you, Johnny? Any NPC interactions?
Yeah, there's so many good ones. The one we talked about many times was the guy in Sekiro that comes protecting the gate, screaming his name. The guy on the horse.
Blah, blah, blah. That guy was
Yeah,
awesome, man.
it's just glorious.
Shit, that was that was amazing. God, that was
Lots of small ones, like the moon head guy in Outer Worlds
Absolutely.
was super fun.
Yeah.
You know, with the humor there, really nailed it. Ah, man.
Dude, I think also No One Lives Forever's got a couple really good ones that I liked. Shogo Mobile Armored Division.
A lot of fun conversations.
Those games had just those characters that you're like, and you knew they only had 2 lines, but it didn't matter because the person placed them in the right place where they used they used whatever they had and did the most with it. You know, they were like, there was no fat on those games because there just wasn't any fat that was available. And so you had some of these awesome moments. I'm going to read some of these real quick. Robert says, I used to play with 4 or 5 dudes in high school during LAN parties with Halo, Conflict, Desert Storm, and Smash Brothers. On N64, those were the days we used to buy pizza every weekend and game for Ho. Pretty sure he means hours. Unless you gamed for Hoes, which is an all new sort of currency. They got Alex in Division, gets me every time. Yeah, true. Yeah, that is true. Yeah, Kuno is the best. Yeah, Kuno's amazing. Effort Free Me says journalist from Mass Effect. Yeah, that's Jessica Choba, I think. Jeremy says odd one, but I remember the dynamic NPC reactions of certain games. Fear soldiers pushing over tables and reacting so smartly. Also, Dark Messiah has crazy NPC. That is true. Johnny says The Division. Keep your eyes open. It might be nothing, but it might be something. Is that supposed to be helpful, Earl? Because it isn't. Yeah, some of the stuff said in Division does crack me up. I love the masked dude that comes out at night in TOTK. That's Twilight. No, what's TOTK? That's an
Tears of the Kingdom.
Tears of the Kingdom. Thank you. I don't know why I was having such a problem there.
Yeah.
And then Dark Messiah Cyclops fights where you hide between 2 boulders and it moves one way to smash you. Blew my mind. Oh,
so I mean,
the way to smash you. Sorry, what were you saying? Sorry, say that.
The Skull Kid in Majora's Mask. Incredibly creepy. Also, my favorite NPC, probably Mr. Drippy from Ni no Kuni. The Welsh fairy.
That out of context, that sounded really wrong, Silver, but that was a very wholesome, character.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
He was tidy.
Yeah, dude, some of those interactions are so great. It just depends on like my mood, but there's certain, like Kuno, there's certain ones that stick no matter what, like for years. Just awesome. So yeah. Thomas just gave an answer that I was going to sort of add on to. He says GTA 4, the crackhead and his rock. But I would say also, I was going to say GTA 5. I still think that I know that Trevor's written in an out of the way, way, but that's a pretty crazy character. And because of their performance level and their technological level in GTA, even his son, I think Michael's son was also pretty goddamn awesome. When Michael and his son are driving and his son's like, you're a piece of shit. And Michael is sort of, but he's also just a guy who's like going through a midlife crisis. His wife is banging the yoga instructor. He's driving. His kid doesn't respect him because maybe he doesn't deserve it. I don't know. But like the kid's just being a dick. And I don't know. Is the kid Jonah Hill, by the way, in that game?
No.
Okay, because I swear to God, he looks like Jonah Hill. I want to punch him so hard in the goddamn head because of that. But anyway, so you got this kid just being such a POS to him. And I remember being like, that, they have the money, right? I'm not saying they don't. But with that amount of money, they're able to let things sit longer than a lot of developers who need to, they don't have the air to sort of let something rest. And those little mini moments in that game, I really do think it's a classic for a reason.
Especially if you actually spend time in Michael's house and you can actually encounter family dynamics. Yes. And especially toward the end of the game where you can actually have, when they actually come back and live with Michael again, you can actually have interactions with them like in the house and have conversations. And there's a lot of subtext to that. There was as well in like with a character like Kate in GTA 4 that a lot of players didn't necessarily see or experience. But there was actually a lot of stuff there but you just have to get to it, which can be a hindrance given a lot of that the game doesn't really entice you to do it all that much.
This isn't going to be a love affair, I swear to God, with Rockstar, but also the cannibal in Red Dead 1 that John meets, the guy digging in the graves, and you're just like, or maybe not cannibal, I don't remember, but that creepy ass dude, and the stuff John says to him, because John's like, dude, you're one weird motherfucker, you know, and he is weird. He's the type of guy who is worse than bandits. Because
I mean, GTA,
you're just like,
GTA 5 has the cult that Trevor can basically take hitchhikers to.
Dude, that's nuts.
They'll eat them. Yeah.
Jeremy says, first Deus Ex has great NPC stuff. The fact was slight spoiler stuff with your brother if you leave him, but if you stay and fight, yeah, and the stuff with waiting after some of the discussions. Deus Ex has a lot. Thief has, the bear fights in Thief. The one-liners about the guys when you're sneaking, I think it's Thief. Is that Thief 2? Where the guy's like, want to go to the bear fights tonight?
Yeah, that's Thief 1. Yeah,
that's
Benny, the drunken guard.
Dude,
yeah.
I adore that because it's the dumbest, like, and he even has the weird guttural English, and you get an idea of how dumb they are, which then
the really funny part is the guy who voices Benny the drunken guard is Garrett.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, he did a great job, and I think it sells that you're not only good, but that they're dumb. And it sells the fiction. And he's just like, want to go to the bear fights tonight? And I was like, oh my God, these guys are guarding the place. No wonder I can sneak in. And it just worked. It was like, that was a great, I don't know if they did it on purpose, but it worked for me.
And he's lambasting him for being drunk on the job again. Yeah.
Yeah.
The other guy.
God damn, that was fun, man. Dude, the Thief games were such a sense. I know that people didn't like it as much, but I thought Thief 3 and the Cradle level was one of the best experiences of my life. Like there was a lot of those older games in that way. I don't, consider those old times the best times. I lived through them. They weren't the best fucking times, but there were some games there that like I'll remember forever.
I mean, the rope arrow, still one of the best tools.
Even the moss arrow, games. Just being able to like do stuff to the environment and being like, whoa, what the shit? Or the first time in No One Lives Forever, dude, when you flip a table over. But
you can't. The enemies
can. And it's all scripted, right? It's all scripted, but it didn't matter because I was so accustomed to the world being bolted together like super glue had just poured into a level. No matter what you did, nothing was affected. And watching them like leap over a railing, flip over the table, and being like, "What the is going on?" I love that. What else we got, Johnny? Questions wise.
We got the last one here from Hunter. Does Silver have some Total War 3 tips for fighting battles? I find that when I play a game, a squad of archers will get like 65 kills, but if I auto-resolve the same battle, they will get around 200 with battles and campaigns set to hard difficulty.
So let's do that. We'll wrap this one up because I've been up all night and I'm pretty exhausted. So what we're going to do, we'll wrap it up with one piece of advice for a game they normally don't talk about.
Let's do it.
One piece of advice for a game, except obviously he was asked about Warhammer. We can use games. We play a lot. I guess that's fine. What about you? What do you got, Silver? What's some pieces of advice for Warhammer?
I mean, there's a lot there. The game's AI can be a little tricky with missile troops at the moment with firing lines and whatnot. So you have to make sure you have clear firing lines. What's really going to help you, I think, starting out is look at the battle timer in the upper right corner. You can fast forward, but you can also go into slow, like half speed, slow motion, and slow the game down and pause it as well. So use the slow speed to think and see where troops are maneuvering, and then use that to counter effectively in real time. And then as you do that, you will naturally start to be able to do that in real time more effectively. So the half speed, really, really solid tool for new players that I would recommend for sure for the real-time battles.
That is good advice.
And don't necessarily think about the auto-resolve too much with the numbers, because the formulas there are kind of messed up. How they work, they really, really weight range troops very, very heavily.
Okay, damn, good to know. What about you, Johnny? Piece of advice for games.
I'll give one for Space Marine 2. So if for people who get into that game, a couple things that might help you if you're a bit overwhelmed. You can either go the ranged route and play heavy, which is a great class, and play the Melta, which is this kind of big area of effect shooting thing. You will obliterate everything, have a great time, and generally, it's a great class to go for. If you want to go like the melee route, all of them are pretty great. The Bulwark is an awesome class to get into. But either way, I recommend you try out the sword. It's actually a great weapon.
Oh.
And pick up the fencing version. Because the sword, you have different variants. The fencing gives you a much bigger parry window. And the game feels a lot different when you're able to get parries really consistently. So go in, really learn the window of your parries, and enjoy the fencing style. I find it the best.
Damn.
So.
I think I've heard the fencing one other time, actually, and I don't think I really focused on either one of them, but I'm pretty sure I'd heard that. Pillowcase says, Chronos New Dawn, focus on upgrading inventory slots first. That is true.
Ooh,
that
makes
fucking
sense.
True in that game. Jeremy says, true pausing I use a lot, also using magic spells and blobbing enemies around Lord or single entities. It's cheesy, but it works. I think he's talking about Warhammer. Silver says his thing, and then Thomas Preston says, undisputed boxing power spammers in PvP, jab once and move by round 6, they're done. Undisputed boxing power spammers in PvP. Okay, so you're fighting them. Jab once and move. Jab once and move by round 6, they're done. Really? That seemed, well, I mean, I wouldn't doubt it, especially the way people play multiplayer. Mine would be SBZ says, SBZ says, it is okay to love the game that other people hate. Good advice. Good advice.
Yes.
Mine would be for first-person shooters. I would say leave your ego, or even fighting games. This works for. But if you sometimes it is better to go in knowing you'll die and just watch what people do. Especially fighting games, it definitely works where you're like, I'm going to go into this and I'm not going to try to attack at all. I just want to see what the guy does. Whether Dark Souls
Wukong
works.
I remember you told me that, and that made sense.
And it's weird because I was talking to, I think it was Solar this could have been a year ago or whatever, but we were talking about it and there were some other people listening. And I heard people going like, wait, what? You just let yourself die? And I'm like, dude, yeah. Don't just try to live as long as possible. Don't attack. Don't ever inject the thought of being aggressive. Literally just go in and start dodging around, seeing how it works, seeing where stuff is. It's okay to die. Now, if you're somebody who wants to win right away, I guess that's another thing. But the amount of frustration that removes from games actually helps a lot. Yeah. And it works in FPS games. The other thing in FPS games, I will say this, multiplayer games, man, follow somebody else for a little while. You see these random jagged ass freaks running out into a courtyard by themselves. And you're like, dude, they're level 1. Boom. And they die. And they're like, I hate this game. I can't. It's like, dude, if somebody's in front of you, support them. Support them for a little bit. Follow them around. See where they're going.
Don't be afraid to think outside of the box. The amount of times in games like Verdun or shooters like that where I've flanked the enemy, and I was the only player thinking about flanking the enemy for some reason. Yeah, everyone else just going straight in, and then getting a dozen kills on that, just for being the only one thinking in those terms, is going to potentially pay dividends for you.
Yep. Well, that can make up for us. We're going to wrap this up. Thanks to these guys. Thanks to you guys for stepping in and always listening to the podcast. This will go live on I almost said Instacart because I got to get food. Jesus. It's going to go live on. What is it? Here's my brain slowly shutting down. We're going to Spotify. This goes live on Spotify and iTunes probably in an hour or so. If you guys get a chance, give it a thumbs up. And when this ends, give it a comment. Thanks to these guys for showing up. And we will see you Tuesday for the side podcast. Are you streaming anything tomorrow, Johnny?
I'm streaming a combo of League plus Ghost of Yote tomorrow on Twitch.
At the same time, you're going to wear bobby socks and use like a foot pad and play one game?
It's like a docket. I play some ranked games and then I chill back in.
That's super disappointing that you're not going to show me. Just joking.
challenge at the same time, like
do
with
both
your
at the same
feet or
time.
whatever.
Dude, I've seen
like,
the one girl who's always wearing like the athletic socks, I guess. But she does like the floor pad and then plays the game with the controller, plays 2 games. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, what's going on right now? That's amazing. Anyway, that's it for us. Thank you, everybody. If you get a chance, like I said, leave a comment. Peace out and enjoy the rest of your week.
See ya.